Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell. James Farley.
Hello.
Hey,
do a trumpet. Do a trumpet. Do it.
No.
Got to do a trumpet.
Sake. Why would I do that?
Because it's part of the show now.
There you go.
Yes. Belter.
Matt Murray. That was my favourite of the trumpets. Let's get to feedback. Let's get straight to feedback. They all loved it last week, Matt.
Yes, last week, Dave's dad.
He did. Right? Yeah.
Dave came on the show. Athene Allen. I think we found a replacement for Dave. His dad. Any chance of that, Dave, for next year?
No, because, even in that little recording, we had to bleep out, we had to cut out quite a few controversial opinions. So, that had to go. But no, let's not have him on the show. Editing would be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. So Thomas Lamafly42, read this last week's show. If your old man is genuinely like that all the time and simply not being character for the section of the pod, Jesus Christ, you've got your work cut out. Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, like what? Is he? I mean, what do you guys think?
I don't know. I thought it was just... No, he was just being himself, anyway.
I mean, he was, but he's... You don't get a kid like David Turner's without being somewhat of a character yourself.
Without grossly bad parenting. I mean, he's always been like that. He's just... he just talks, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's got verbal diarrhea like I have. It was just talk and just nonsense coming out. Oh, boy, and then sometimes he hasn't got a point, but that just means he talks a bit louder than he normally does until the sentence ends. It's he's a lovely bloke.
I think on last week's show we may have talked about gaming RSI. I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, we got the question about just gaming as you get older, didn't we? And we
Leon Cox from that other little podcast, Kane and Rince, has tweeted in, on age and gaming RSI, I had painful thumbs for a few months 10 years ago, completely cleared up after a decade though, or completely cleared up for a decade, but they've just returned recently for the real Tetris effect. But I'm confident it will subside. A variety of different game types and controllers help. So, yeah, after 10 years of that RSI, Tetris Effect has sparked up Leon's thumbs all over again.
So if you want some more amazing anecdotes like that, then please subscribe to the Kane and Rince podcast. And there's hours of it. Tell us more. Leon, tell us more.
Don't, because he might email in with a much longer one. Mark Christie has emailed in, speaking of which, your recent talk of older gamers made me think of my dad. Growing up, I had a ZX Spectrum and we would play decathlon or snooker on that, both hunched over the keyboard or one of us on the joystick. I assume that's no. So games are always a thing for us to bond over. He got a PS4 Pro maybe 18 months ago, and after a few years of not having any consoles, after a few years of not having any consoles, he had a 360 beforehand, and we'd always play Tiger Woods or whatever racing game he was into at the time. His big passion was Champion Jockey at the time. The gap between his 360 and PS4 Pro was too long, however. He lacked the dexterity to properly use the controller, and the game seemed to be too quick and too complex than he was used to. I watched him play the first level of Nathan Drake, and he couldn't keep up with the button presses and was looking at a controller more than the TV. He recently sold his PS4 Pro and said he wouldn't be buying another console. His gaming choice now is Mahjong on the Mac. That's an old reference to the pod. My dad is 67. At this age, I will take playing games until I'm that age. I'm currently 46. Yeah,
did anyone else chuckle at watch him play the first level of Nathan Drake?
It sounds like he's not the old one. Maybe he's just told you that he doesn't game anymore because he's embarrassed by you coming out with stuff like that.
My son keeps saying Nathan Drake.
That is quite sad, but it made me think of, I've been telling you that we've been playing FIFA. Harry and I have been playing FIFA. Well, recently, we've been doing World Cup mode and we've been playing together in that. I think I'm going to get a copy of FIFA 19 for Christmas. And the plan is to play like full seasons as Millwall, 2-player, both on the same team. And then it just took me back. You've been able to do that in football games for years. 2 players on one team against the computer. That was never an option with me and Dad. we always played against each other, and he always used to really fucking hate losing to me. Like, visibly show like how angry he was, then refused to play with me, and then when I was playing with my brother, cheer on my brother. You know what I mean? And it makes you look at yourself and go, why did he do that? Why didn't he just turn around and say, "Here, son, do you want to do a co-op like season together?" He
Maybe
never
you just
did
thought
that.
you were a dickhead, because I've played FIFA with you, and it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I am a dickhead when playing FIFA. There's no getting around that. But he's my dad.
You should put up with that. Well, Dave, you're going to fix all the wrongs now with you and Harry.
Yeah, too
Unless
intense.
he hates playing on your side and was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, and
You're rubbish.
The circle of life. Right, okay, next.
Speaking of old people, which we did last week, Bradley emailed in. On episode 131, you were talking about podcasting out of an old folks' home in the distant future, and David said, welcome to episode 4382 of the Computer Game Show. I did a little math, and I wanted you to know if you keep recording...
Maths.
He said math, and I wasn't coming out to correct him. I did some mathematics and wanted you to know if you keep recording one episode a week, you're recording episode 4382 of the Computer Game Show on Monday, the 17th of May, the year 2100.
Nice, book it.
Good luck.
So what age would that make us? He wrote what age that would make us, Dan?
Well,
dead long before
basically, that's another 81 years of the show. So
I'll be
okay,
115.
but to be fair, out of any, I was quite surprised at how close I was. Really, that's not that out, is it?
No, it's pretty good.
I thought I was quite happy with that.
I'll be 115 years old, so I'm not sure.
You've also got to remember, and what you didn't take into account in your calculations there, is that I'm leaving, well, next week is my last proper show, and I'm leaving, and Matt's taking over next year, so expect about 4 episodes a week. Do you know what I mean? Like that, we got to keep the engagement up.
Yeah, I'm getting really worried about this, because there's been lots of WhatsApp messages, and just like, it's a concern.
This is
We're
what's
going
great,
to do a daily news show live on Twitch for 17 hours a day. And then you can sleep for the other 7 and then back on air. We want to do breaking news and a ticker at the bottom of the screen.
You can unsubscribe as easily as you've subscribed to this podcast.
Do not do that. It's going to get even bigger and better next year.
Even easy, just throw your phone in a river. Just do it.
Do that. Just find everyone's phone. Everyone's phone you see, put it in a river. But no need. It'll be bigger and better next year. I promise you that.
All right.
Stephen...
Let's see.
David sounds unconvinced.
I want some backup from you two, not David.
I'm not convinced. It's like, I'm really worried about the way things have been going.
Well, you don't think it's going to be bigger and better next year, James?
I don't know. The plans that Matt has come up with, I'm just a bit concerned.
You've got to tell me one of them. Just one of them.
Well, no, because what do you think? Can I tell him one thing?
You could drop one of them.
Don't tell anyone. James, just come
on. All right. Okay.
James, come on. I'll vote for one of your games. Tell me
you two are already in cahoots because James lent you the PSVR, so you don't.
That's
need
a point. Yeah, you already owe James one.
I was getting concerned about that.
I don't owe James nothing. James has done this off his own back.
I'm expecting to get anything out of David from this?
But I'm not being
funny. Why you did it?
Yes, you'll do that.
Because I'm a nice person.
Exactly. He did it to try and bribe me. He didn't do it because he's a nice guy that wanted to, Dave, you should play this. You'll really like it. He's trying to bribe me. He's trying to bribe me. And now that he's not, he's already dropped it off, I can be honest about the whole situation, Sean. I don't have to butter him up and go, oh, no, I really appreciate it, James. No, he's trying to bribe me. It's working. But he's trying to bribe me.
Look, James, there's nothing to be worried about. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Sean's going to be good, James.
It's going to be different. It's going to be. It's going to be okay.
We've gone from good to different.
So I was just saying the conversation.
Just slowly calibrate the expectations. Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Which one of you is going to be funny on it?
We haven't decided that yet.
Everyone's sitting there with their arms folded. I'm not fucking doing
it. Matt's been using phrases like "step it up" and stuff like that, and it's just, it's a concern.
James, I'm going to be running a tight ship next year, and I don't want you fucking up for everyone.
James, can you just screenshot something? Because I'm not in this WhatsApp
James,
group.
Do
if
not
you're listening,
do that.
I'm not in this WhatsApp group. Can you just screenshot something?
No, I'm serious here. Do not do that.
Why is Matt freaking out so much?
You've said you're switching off for next year, so it doesn't matter. We need to keep this shit rolling.
James, don't tell him. I won't tell him that you've
James,
done it,
you
but you need to do it a lot.
Do not
you
do that.
need to do it a lot. I will never let him know that you've done it, James.
James,
I would never.
I will find out. Do
No.
not send David what
Here's
I've
the
been
beautiful
sending
thing,
you.
Sean. Here's
Whatever
the beautiful
you send him, James, we are definitely doing it.
Sean,
That
Sean,
is also a reason not to do it. 'Cause,
Sean, here's the beautiful thing, right? Matt will now that I've said that, I would absolutely 100% not tell Matt that James has sent me anything from that group, right? But now that means that Matt won't know if it's happening or not. So even if James doesn't do it, there's a chance that he's doing it. James, do it.
James, do
won't
not
tell him.
do you want this show to go into the fucking sea next year, or do you want to keep
Hold
it
on,
going?
whoa, Matt, why would it go into the sea? Because I'm finding out what you're planning to do without me next year.
Because James isn't going to step it up. That's why. I need him to step it up, David.
I want those screenshots, James. Right. Oh, my phone's just gone off. I'll check that in a bit. Right,
James,
okay.
I swear to God. Okay. Stephen Devereux, VR newbie, he said in the email, hey all, just wanted to write a very brief message about PSVR and Astrobot in particular. That was a very, very good call suggesting to try it. And as someone who hasn't tried VR since the early PC headsets, it's basically the best thing ever. I will say, however, as cartoony as it is, that big gorilla thing can fuck right off. I only seen the arms reach up on one level, and it's amazing. Anyway, I sort of really enjoyed the pod. Cheers for making it. Hope the grammar's not too bad for reading. I'm all for writing. And Stephen, it was fine. It was absolutely perfect. SMW. I love how, this is a massive talk.
Wait. You know where he says about those early PC headsets? Do you reckon he means like those ones they used to have on things like Bad Influence? Things like that, you know?
Cyberzone with Craig Charles.
Yeah,
They had a very
doesn't just mean,
distinctive look, didn't they? Didn't they have, like, if I remember correctly, like bright yellow or bright,
they're like bright
baby
red.
blue?
Yeah.
I remember those bad boys.
Yeah, I remember that and not the first like Oculus. That'd be even better.
My first experience in VR was going to somewhere like Chessington, and they had like one of those VR booths like set up, and I put it on, and it was like shitty polygon, like awful. It was like a dogfighting game, and I had because I didn't have my headphones on. I didn't have like headphones. It had speakers in the back of the seats, I think.
Oh wow!
And I could literally hear someone going, "Sorry, mate, you're supposed to look around." Like I was just sitting in the chair, looking straight ahead, just firing. You're supposed to look around, mate. That's the whole point. I was like,
I mean, you say that. I had to
okay.
do that with my mum trying out PSVR not that long ago. So, and she like looked to the left and saw like a fish and went, "Ooh."
Yeah, when I got Jill to play it, she refused to look left or right because she was scared of the shark appearing. But no, look around. I'm not looking around. I'm looking straight ahead. So, okay, this is pointless.
So the
I'm
shark's
pretty
still
convinced.
there.
I'm pretty convinced Joe is saying that she's not going to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty convinced she won't go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
But I have got permission to try Harry on it just for a
Really?
short amount of time.
Yeah, I did that. It's great.
Yeah, I did it for a day.
Did I tell you what?
Mind blowing.
Did I tell you how Rachel fell over using it? I can't remember.
No.
Well, the thing is, right, she's a fan of like One Piece and some other like anime stuff and everything. So I downloaded that, and there's this bit where you're in like on the ship, and you can sit down next. Like there's the character like sitting down on a sofa, and she went and tried to sit down next to the character, fell all over the floor.
Yeah,
it's
easy to do that.
Yeah. I'll tell you something quickly before we go. We move on from the PSVR. This isn't related to any of the games really, but when James dropped it off, we set it up, and he sat next to me as I experienced Tetris effect in VR for the first time. Mm-hmm. So I put my headphones on, and I think James was hoping for me to be blown away instantly, but there was a problem, wasn't there, James?
It gets steaming up, didn't it?
I didn't even think about this. And we looked it up, because it was in his cold car, and then I've put it on my head. It was just literally, I was like, this is appalling. I can't see shit. And because the moment you like put your head in it just steams up. Yeah. Anyway, that was resolved later in that evening, James. So I will be talking about PSVR games later.
Yeah, we had to Google hot head plus PSVR.
You were going, you've just got a hot head, Dave. You got a hot head. I don't think I've got a hot head. I don't think I've got a hot head. Yeah, it was good.
I will say, the first time I get a PSVR and play the first game, that happens for the first 30 seconds, and then it's gone.
they reckon you should turn it on for 5 to 10 minutes before you even put it on your head.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that. I got Tetris seeing VR.
Nobody got time for that.
I ain't got time for that. Okay, I can't believe we haven't started the episode with 20 minutes of everyone bollocking Dave, but let's have a bit of feedback from SMW.
I'll stay quiet throughout this, and then I'll
love how when David messes up his microphone, his audio still manages to come out the best when everyone else's suffers. Nick G at ProdCharge on Twitter. So was it the main one's mic that caused Matt to cut out a bunch and to James to sound like he's in a cave? And Alex79UK, what the fuck is going on with James's mic this week?
I told
Popping
you
and
that
cackling all over the shop. Seems to get better as the show goes on, though.
Right, okay, let me explain. Okay, because I felt awful when these tweets were coming in. It was, this was upsetting. And I replied to one of them, but I thought, and even then I hated myself for doing it because I don't like doing that. I like doing it on the show, but I felt really bad. So the reason why my mic sounded alright and everyone else's sounded fucked up was because when we found out, when we listened back to the audio that I'd recorded locally, it was all on the internal mic, which, it sounded like James's did a few weeks ago, right? But the thing is, because James talks less than I do throughout the show, it's just about bearable when it's, every now and then. But when it's throughout, the fucking main portion of the show as this tinny voice, we decided that it would be better to use the backup recording. And what the backup recording is that we use Audio Hijack Pro, which is a piece of software on the Mac. If you podcast using a Mac, then it's essential. It's a fucking brilliant piece of software. But what that does is just record the direct feed from the Discord. And the way it works, it records the audio coming in and the audio going out. So the audio going out was me, my Yeti set up, and the audio coming in was the feed coming through from Discord. So Sean, Matt and James's audio was obviously a lot worse than mine. So even though it was my mistake, I sounded alright and everyone else sounded fucked up.
So we had to suffer for your mistake, didn't we?
Yeah, you had to suffer for my mistake, and I have no defending myself. I'm totally sorry that happened. There you go. I'm not even going to try and turn this into a "woo, fuck you guys, man." But but no, that was my fault. So blame me. All right, guys.
James, anything?
I'm a big man.
James?
No, I mean, as I said at the time, it's easily done. He's done a test recording this today, and everything's fine, so we can just move on. It's no problem.
It is easily done once, isn't it?
Yeah.
About 8 times. 8 times.
Well, I wouldn't know because I haven't done it 8 times, but it's.
I think I could probably count 8. But go on.
Matt? Last week. Yeah, thanks, James. Last week we talked about The Walking Dead and the fact that Skybound are going to pick up the development for the final season. We were confused about who Skybound was. Jake Invaders has responded. Skybound is Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead. He's Walking Dead creator. He's his company. They co-publish the comics with Image as well as a host of other comic IPs, and they own the Walking Dead license. They also have a gaming arm, which obviously seems to be looking after The Walking Dead's game revival. I wonder if they'll do other comic book games.
Yeah, I mean, if they've got I don't know what the nature of the deal is with the team that made or are making The Walking Dead. If they've now got a studio and they figure they can do something else with it, that might be nice.
That's what I said last week, Sean. Stop stealing my opinions. Although you probably couldn't hear me because I was on internal mic. But I mean that would be brilliant if they got a taste for development through this. Then that'd be great. But we'll see.
Last week, there was some Only Fools and Horses chat, of course it was. Ryan at IdolFury88. Some shocking unappreciative Only Fools and Horses on last week's pod. Utter blasphemy. I know Farley's a bit middle class and Sean is a bit northern, but we can't blame them for this. But still, have they ever seen Grandad drop the wrong chandelier? It's a bloody
the thing, right?
That's just comedy genius, though.
No, but Only Fools and Horses is fine. It's a funny show. It's pretty good. It's nowhere near as good as Trailer Park Boys, though. I'm sorry.
You're having a lot.
David, you've never even seen Trailer Park Park Boys.
I have seen. I've seen 2 episodes. It's people gurning and making silly noises. It's just only fools and horses.
Hang on. People making silly noises. That sounds right up your street. You love it when Matt does all that rubbish on the show.
When Matt does it, it's funny. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you think you're above Only Fools and Horses now, James. I mean, I'm trying to think of a show that you like really love that I could just properly slate. Like, I'm trying to think of a show that you're.
What, any game that I bring up on the show? Yeah.
Have I got news for you? There you go. Yeah, overrated, right. James. Have I got news for you? I bet you sit there every week chuckling away at Ian Hislop. Like, oh, look, he is right about that. Overrated. I don't think it's ever made me laugh. How about that? Stab to the heart. How's that feel, James? Stab to the
David.
fucking
I don't know
heart.
why you're getting so upset about this. I mean, it's
absolutely
fine.
It's one of those things where it's cool to go, it's just, Only Fools and Horses is so shit.
It's not shit. I said it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I enjoy the odd episode here and there, but I wouldn't I wouldn't set my VCR
one episode
to record
of that show
it
without laughing at least once. And as I say,
well, it
does not include any episode,
comedy, isn't it? It's very broad, isn't it, David?
It's very base. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, you're doing nothing for yourselves here. Isn't Trailer Park Boys just people gurning and making silly noises? Is that
no, it's also people swearing and falling over, Dave.
Yeah. So it's amazing. And it's also got the best. I mean, sadly, he's now died, but like the best, like drunk person ever.
Fucking
Jim
hell, man, Jim Leahy, Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, I have like no opinion on Only Fools and Horses, and it is probably because I'm from the north. It's just not. I don't know.
Do you know what is really weird though, right? And I'll be honest with this, right? I think, I genuinely think Only Fools and Horses is brilliant. And okay, you've seen all the bits a billion times, you know what I mean? But the first time you see Del Boy falling through the bar, where, it is funny. And like the chandelier shit, you've seen it a billion times. So yeah, it does get a bit tiresome, obviously. But what I don't get is that, it's Jim Sullivan, isn't it? The guy that wrote that.
John Sullivan.
Yeah. John Sullivan. Yeah. He also wrote The Green, Green Grass and... He wrote the episodes after, they did, Del Boy and Rodney, they become millionaires, and then he did the ones where they lost it again, and the ones after that, and they're just awful, proper, fucking hell, what are you doing? Like, those
he ran out of
3,
ideas, isn't he? That's the thing.
I mean, run out of ideas is one thing, James, but this was next level. It was as if someone took over and, the green, green grass, James. The green, green grass.
I never watched it, so...
Didn't
they do that other one as well, Rock and Chips?
Yeah, but no, did he write that?
I don't know.
That was I never watched the prequel ones because I'm still angry about the ones after they got... Look, why are we talking about Only Fools and Horses? Right, let's go.
I have no idea, but it is a great show. Someone actually retweeted loads of Only Fools and Horses videos in a week, and
that was David.
Was it? Someone else tweeted them, and did he retweet?
No,
anyway,
it was David.
No, it was just me.
They were great.
Someone.
I thought it was someone else. Anyway, whatever. They were great. They're still good. Anyway, Joshua Garrity tried to mug us off in the week, and it failed badly.
Oh god, yeah, this was so sweet.
It was okay. Joshua Garrity at Comboin Hunter on the 28th of November. Hey Twitter, you're right. Help me prove a point, would ya? If you like or love Twilight Princess, can you tweet at Computer Game Pod with a message, I like Twilight Princess, Dave. Likes and retweets, appreciated, cheers. That was on the 28th. Within 24 hours, he was already feeling the heat. Come on, morning crew. Right now, the beginning of the Computer Game show is going to be a fucking embarrassment on my part. So that's a day later, he's already shitting bricks. And then also, in a couple of days after that, he tweeted about the fact that Titanfall was £4. He then had some look at the Twilight Princess tweet and look at this one, and basically the Titanfall tweet blew up, but the other one didn't. He tweeted again, I came at the king and I missed. Sorry, David, never again.
Josh, I'll be honest, Josh, you saying that is brilliant because there's not many people would have just highlighted the fact that you got totally done on Twitter there. So I respect you for that.
I did see a bunch of people say, I like Twilight Princess Dave. I saw,
Yeah, but what was it, 3 or 4? The funniest was about 6 hours after he tweeted it. I checked his thing and it had 2 likes, and I was like, oh, Josh. But didn't his like Titanfall one get over 100 likes and like 60 odd retweets or something?
Turns out 4 quid Titanfall is good. I was going to quote tweet it saying it's too short according to James, so no point.
Don't get me started with that. It's the most ridiculous argument about a game I've ever heard in my life.
I feel really terrible that I enjoyed the game and I wanted a bit more of it. It's just scandalous.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't touch the multiplayer. You said no. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. That wasn't your argument at the time. Your argument at the time was I overhyped it.
You did
because it was too
you
short.
Definitely did that.
You definitely overhyped it, Dave.
It's one of the best. It was one of the best shooters I'd played that year.
The general public didn't agree. It's
No, what are you talking about? The general public didn't agree. It got tens and
general public think all sorts of funny things, James.
James, you can't use that as an argument, and you know you can't. So why are you trying it? Go on.
Anyway, it went out in round 1 where it deserved to go of the Game of the Year show. That's it for follow-up and feedback this week. If you want to leave us some follow-up or feedback, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
It's a busy week on the tweets and emails. Everyone's getting pumped.
It's been flying this week.
Yeah, we all know what's coming. I cannot believe it's the draft next week. The draft.
I know.
I said to James when he come over, we were quite funny. We sort of stood in the kitchen, weren't we? I can't remember why we were in the kitchen. I think we were making coffee or something. It's not important. And I sort of said, fucking hell, it's the draft next week. Can you believe it? And he was like, yeah. And we sort of both looked at each other and nodded as if to say, I'm not going to show you my hands just yet. I'm not going to show you my cards just yet. Let's just not say anything.
Let's move on.
And just move on with the conversation. Next week. Yeah. Jesus. Okay. All right.
Exciting.
What's it time for, James?
It's time for the news. And the first part of the news is a section I'm calling the Fallout 76 Fallout.
Okay.
The first half of the news.
Whacking headlines in there now.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. So, I can't
believe anyone's... I don't think anyone's used that yet, have they?
Yeah. No, definitely not.
So anyway, there's about 3 or 4 stories related to Fallout, which I'm going to sort of go through because they're quite interesting. I mean, the first one is that Bethesda have responded to angry players with saying that there's going to be 2 patches. So apparently there's going to be 2 updates that are going to come in December because the game is allegedly still rather buggy, with players reporting problems such as... I mean, these are quite good. We've got being unable to die, constantly exploding cars, NPC textures that break and stretch, and a bug that deleted 50 gigabytes of game data. Yeah, that was...
that was fine, though.
It's fine with that. So
didn't Bethesda they say after launch, within a week, there was over 100 gigs of patches? After launch, sorry.
After launch?
Within a week, there was over 100 gigs worth of patches.
Yeah.
That is fucking mental. You know what I mean? Especially, in America, aren't they still on data caps and stuff?
Yes.
I hear about almost every podcast I hear about when I talk about, say things like Games of Gold and streaming, Astro in Future, they're all like, well, the data caps are data caps. Yes, how are they doing this?
Yeah, it's mental. Go on.
Okay, do you want to hear Bethesda's statement about the game?
Yeah.
All right, so
when did this come out?
This was a couple of days ago. So they said here, we know you're frustrated and angry at the state of things right now, whether it's the issues you're running into in the game or the lack of communication about fixes, updates or news. We don't want you to think the silence meant nothing was happening. We're sorry and understand this was not the right approach, and we'll work to make a better bridge between you and the dev team at BGS. So anyway, the first patch is going to fix the stash limit, because apparently this is one of the major annoyances of the game, is that it was you can really quickly get over encumbered, when you're especially if you're doing missions or whatever. And there was another problem whereby people got stuck in their power armor and they couldn't take it off or whatever. And so if they killed a boss and then they were trying to get the loot, there's not really any point because you just get over encumbered and you can't move and everything, which is pretty terrible. And so they're gonna sort that out. The second patch is going to bring push to talk voice chat for PC players and the field of view settings, and they're also adding a bulldozer system to allow you to remove obstructions from the terrain so you can build camps more easily. But the thing is, this is all good, all of this sort of stuff, I guess, but so from my perspective, they don't seem to be fixing one of the main complaints that people have had about it, which is that there aren't any NPCs and it doesn't have things like conversation trees, and that when you think of Fallout, that's what you think. You think of dialogue choices and all that kind of thing, but that doesn't exist in this game. So
but this is a game they wanted to make. So do you expect them to patch it to make it a different game?
It may have been the game they wanted to make, but it's not the game people wanted to buy, and that's pretty obvious by the fact people.
If they didn't want to buy it, they didn't have to buy it.
I'm coming to that because there's also the next part is Bethesda's refund policy, because that's also causing confusion.
Go on.
So, as I said, some people haven't been happy with the bugs, and they've been trying to claim refunds because Bethesda on PC, they have the Bethesda game launcher. So, Sean, can you buy it through Steam, do you know, or do you have to use the game launcher?
I haven't checked. Do you want me to look now when you carry on talking?
Yeah, you have a look, yeah. So anyway, people have been using the game launcher to buy the game, and according to the terms and conditions on the launcher, you can't ask for a refund once the software's been used. So if you've downloaded it, and then you've started it up or whatever, you can't ask for anything back. So, which always seems a bit mean because you wouldn't know if there's bugs, would you, before you've started, unless you played it. So, but some players have managed to get PC refunds, even though they have played the game, but then other players have been refused, and they got a statement from Bethesda that said customers who have downloaded the game are not eligible for a refund. So it's not even if you played it, it's if you just downloaded it.
Jesus.
You can't get a refund from them. And then, so the development with this was there was a US legal firm called Miglaccio and Rathod, and they were investigating Bethesda for deceptive trade practices because they're saying it's not fair that the people are not being given refunds and they're not able to if they download it and they can't even get a refund even if they haven't played it. And they stated that players are being rejected refunds despite the game being unplayable because of technical problems. So they made a statement. Shall I read their statement?
Go for it.
Okay, so it says, while minor bugs and glitches are expected with the release of most new games, Fallout 76 launched with a 56GB patch that has proven to be but a starting point for the game's problems. Gamers who have tried to receive a refund because of the game's myriad glitches have been unable to do so since they downloaded the game, leaving them to deal with an unplayable experience until patches bring it back to a playable state. So, some players, I think, were hoping this is going to lead to a class action lawsuit, but Eurogamer kind of noted here that this law firm seemed to have a history of writing blog posts like this, about games, but then nothing actually happens. There's not any legal action. I mean, to me, that sounds like they're hoping some people are going to jump on that and ask them to represent them or something, to take Bethesda to court. But so that was that. So that's the state of the game. And then there was the gift that kept on giving, which was the Power Armor edition. Which a couple of weeks.
This is the one that interests me the most, I think. Sorry, go on, James.
So this is the one where we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe last week about there was the power helmet which looked terrible, and it didn't look like a sort of metal thing. So anyway. It's in the UK. It cost £156 for the Power Armor edition of the game, and it was supposed to come with extras including a duffel bag, and the promotional material. If you look at the shot from it says West Tech canvas carrying bag, right? Mm-hmm. So the bag that people did receive was not a canvas one, and it was instead this cheap nylon version of it. So
the difference is, if you haven't seen those shots, the difference is insane. The bag in all the images, and it specifically says canvas bag. The bag in all the images, it looks decent. It looks decent. The bag that they delivered was just, oh my fucking god, crinkly mess. It was awful. It was shocking.
Yeah.
Go on.
It looked like a Poundland kind of thing, didn't it? It was,
it really did. It looked like something you get in a supermarket for £1.50.
Yeah. So anyway, so then what happened was people obviously were not happy with this. So Bethesda responded to complaints, saying the bag shown in the media was a prototype and was too expensive to make. We aren't planning on doing anything about it. So
they have said since then that was...
I'll come to that, So it says, Bethesda then said that this response wasn't correct and that the real reason for not including the bag was because of unavailability of materials. So it seems they've run out of canvas was one of the problems.
There's no canvas left in the world.
Yeah. But then they also apologised for the original messages, saying about how basically jog on, we're not going to help you at all. and then they said this really tickled me when I read this, where they said a temporary contract employee and not directly employed by Bethesda or Bethesda GameWorks Studios was responsible for the messages. The reason this really tickled me is because in China, whenever anything like any disaster happens, that's exactly what they always say. They always say it was a temporary worker. It was nobody who actually works here or anything. It's just really funny. So anyway, to resolve the issue, players were then being given 500 atoms as compensation. So this is the in-game currency that you can use to buy for things. Now, seeing as the game, the Power Armor edition cost £156, you'd be thinking, the compensation for the fact they didn't get like part of what they were supposed to be getting for this would be pretty good. But
for
it turns out
in-game currency, remember, not real cash. This is fake in-game currency.
But also fake in-game currency that's only worth $3.99.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Not only that, the real kicker was that in order to get that canvas bag in the game,
it's 700 atoms.
It's more than what they were offering. I mean, it's just like
and
it's
the
ridiculous.
fact that 500 atoms, what it could buy you a door
and some flowers,
and finally the ultimate cherry on the cake.
I'm coming to the final twist in the story. So the final twist was, it turns out that Bethesda did make canvas bags, and so they hadn't like run out of canvas or whatever. However, these bags weren't sent out to like the paying customers, and were instead sent out for free to influencers, like to YouTube ones. So this was noticed because like they do those unboxing videos and stuff, and so some YouTubers were doing an unboxing video, and people noticed the canvas duffel bag there. So obviously fans aren't happy with that, and that's been that's the end of the story so far. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they got to say.
There's some terms and conditions to get out of the way before I go into this, right? Firstly, I'm pretty sure that Bethesda had nothing to do with the contents of these special edition things, other than maybe designing a couple of things. But in terms of putting everything together and delivering them in a package, that's probably done by another company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you've got the fact that the bags that were sent out to influencers, for starters, they weren't the same ones that they were using in their promotion shop. But secondly, that was probably done by a completely different company. Or they're not necessarily, I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but that is, it's the likelihood of that happening is pretty high, that they've sorted two companies. So there's not a direct, disgust at Bethesda, really. You know what I mean? It's not like completely, I don't want to say their fault. The problem is, this stuff is representing their game that is already in hot water. There'd be some disgruntled tweets about this, and probably a little bit of an uproar if the game was good and the bag was this pile of shit. At the end of the day, though, you are asking, like, you should, Bethesda, regardless of who's at fault here, if it is a third-party company or whatever, regardless of who's at fault, they should be fucking ashamed to ask for that amount of money for that package and to deliver that. You know what I mean? Not a warning.
Did you hear what they said as well to that? Because some people, said that, and they said that they were very proud of the package they put together.
Yeah, but that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. People were saying that helmet is so thin and flimsy that it's actually just like a horrific piece of shit, right? There were some people defending it on my Twitter feed when I posted a tweet about it, saying, actually, I quite like mine, and fair enough, and it doesn't look as bad as it does in those photos that I tweeted. Okay, fine, whatever. But you've just got to look at this fucking bag. It's insane. It is like the difference between the nice canvas bag that they were using in their promotional shots to the nylon-y sort of cheap piece of shit that was in the pack. It's just an utter total piss take. And for once, I'm not surprised that people are uproaring about 150. What was it? 160 quid.
156, I think it was.
Yeah, 156 quid. £156. You're paying 100 quid on top of the fucking game for, a crappy cheap helmet and this canvas. I'm sure there's other stuff in it, don't get me wrong, but you've just got it. You can't treat your fans like that. You can't.
Especially,
if you're having trouble delivering, make sure you work out a system where they apologise and say, we're not able to deliver the bag, but you can order one here, and once they're ready, we'll ship them out. There's got to be a way around it. You can't deliver that. You can't do
something
it.
Like you give them like loads of like in-game currency or something like that.
That's not even enough for me, man. That's not even enough. You need like, if they'd have said, there's been a huge mistake with the canvas bags. Here's a code. You go onto our website, you register your code, and once they're ready, we will send you out that canvas bag. You'll get that later down the line. Right, if that's the problem, you fucking cannot send them a nylon bag like that. You can't replace it like that. That's fucking wrong. It's just wrong.
One of the other things they said was one of the other excuses they made was they said it was like prohibitively expensive to like make these bags.
I mean, then what are you doing with yourself?
Get someone to fucking price it up before you show it off.
Yeah, before you put it. Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know.
Hi, spoiler, but here. Since recording this podcast, Bethesda have announced that they will make those canvas bags and replace the shit nylon ones. Good for them. They've managed to track down the materials after all. Fuck knows how they've done it, but they have. Congratulations to everyone involved. Oh, while I'm here I thought I'd better warn you that without David next year is going to be fucking shithouse. Unsubscribe now.
It's quite funny, but I mean the whole buzz around this game has been like, I mean, none of us have played it, have we? So we can't really talk about whether it's good or bad or whatever.
Do you think any of us ever will at this rate?
Probably not. But
do you know what? I was tempted this week, Sean. I was genuinely tempted. Yeah. I'm not going to. But
money, Dave. Money.
Yeah, but then like my dad was saying, "Oh, I want to get you a game for Christmas. What do you want?" And there isn't really anything that I want.
Can I have the Power Armor edition?
I really want that. I'm
buying a new bag.
So part of me was thinking, hey, I'll just ask for that. But it's going to be so cheap next year that I'll probably end up getting it at some point.
It's already been discounted. Like, you could already get it. Like
35 quid.
I mean, if it's got a fucking premium currency in it, why are they charging for the game at all? I hate that.
Yeah,
well, that's fucking
thing, one or the other, please.
Well, I'm assuming that you can get the premium currency by playing the game. So it's most like most other games, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
You can either buy your way through it or actually earn the...
Yeah, I'm going to say that, like, obviously I'm Mr. Destiny 2, so I probably can't really complain, but... Yeah, I don't know. Yep.
I mean, is this going to do, like, any sort of long-term damage to, like, the Fallout
Well, this is
thing,
the question... This is the question that I asked Sean in the chat, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? Right, by all accounts, this seems to be worse than Mass Effect Andromeda. It just does. It seems to be worse. Like, there's more issues with it. For all of Mass Effect Andromeda's faults, it still was a workable game, and it had
that's two totally different examples, though. Really, I mean, Andromeda, there was a game that it didn't perform how people wanted to, and all that. The animations were whack, and everyone complained about the ending. This is everything. It seems to be an issue with it. So,
but this is what I'm saying. But then when I ask the question of Sean, and I'm not like saying you're wrong, Sean. What I'm saying is that in part, I do agree with you. The question I asked was, do you think that this is irreparable damage for Fallout? Do you think Fallout's done now? Because
absolutely not.
No way.
But this is it. So we're saying that it's way worse with Fallout than it was for Mass Effect.
No, but there's a big difference.
And Andromeda killed Mass Effect, and Fallout 76 is not going to kill Fallout.
No, but EA killed Mass Effect. Like, as in, they were moving away from...
They're EA. Because they're EA. That's what killed it.
But I know, but it's also because at that time when Mass Effect came out, it felt like the kind of the writing was on the wall for like EA in terms of doing like single player stuff anyway, because they were moving to all that like everything's games as a service, all that kind of stuff. And it felt like Mass Effect was like a last sort of thing that they were going to release that was like that.
Yeah, because they've been the story-based Star Wars game. They've been, so
exactly.
They've got BioWare just doing
games
Anthem now.
Yeah, they've binned off all that stuff, and that's why it felt like that was going to happen.
Yeah, but I not going to do that. 3 after that ending, so they're probably like, okay, that's 2 in a row now. We're gonna.
What I'm saying though is that Andromeda, no, Mass Effect 3 ending was overblown. Like, it was completely overblown. It was okay.
The ending was fine. If you if you were paying attention to what was going on, then that ending was fine. But
what I'm saying is that when the game come out, people weren't going, oh, EA are moving away from this. People were hyped for Andromeda. Yeah. It come out, it didn't live up to expectations, and instantly people were going, this is the death of Mass Effect. This is the end of Mass Effect. They're not going to come back from this.
It's because of all the other stuff that was going on around it at the same time.
No, it wasn't. No, people weren't talking about that at the time, James.
They were.
You're looking back on it now. I'm telling you, at the time, people were saying that the game launched in such a bad state that this is the death of Mass Effect. Fallout 76 seems to have come out to worse. and I still think I agree. I still think it will survive, but I don't think EA fucked Mass Effect more than Bethesda have fucked Fallout.
But the key difference is, like, Andromeda was like, here's the new Mass Effect trilogy, whereas Fallout 76 feels like a bit of side action, like it's a bit of an experiment, like, oh, let's try and do an online one, and they probably are still doing a story one.
But I'd also say that like the Fallout community and like the Bethesda community as a whole is a lot more, I think, I don't want to say loyal, but I'm certain.
I was going to go with rabid, but all right, yeah,
exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
mean?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's because it was EA, and because it's Bethesda. That's the difference. With EA, people love hating them, and fair enough. There are very good reasons why you would hate EA. I'm not saying that you're out of order for doing that. What I'm saying is that, like, because it was EA, that's why people just went, right, that's it, Mass Effect's dead. But because it's Bethesda, there seems to be, because, they're not
they said, right, that's it, Mass Effect's dead, because EA said that style of game was dead. That's why it was
going. They said that years after, James.
It wasn't years after. It was like, it was
within the first
after.
month. They just released Mass Effect and they went, single-player games are dead. Is that what happened?
No, but that was the mood of the way things were going.
No, this is bollocks. You're looking back on it with hindsight and saying that was not the feeling at the time, and that was not what was happening at the time. I'm telling you, it wasn't like that. People were pumped for Andromeda before it came out, and yeah, I'm not really making a point. What I'm saying is that, I was starting to think, man, do you think Fallout is like properly damaged from this? The only thing that I will say is that I do think there'll be another single-player Fallout game. I don't think it'll be for a while, and they better fucking knock it out of the park, because if it is, Fallout 4 was so much, like, it wasn't a huge step from Fallout 3 or New Vegas. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
If the next one is along those lines again, mate, that's when the fucking alarm bells.
It's going to be so far in the future, because we've got obviously the new Elder Scrolls they teased at E3. We've got Starfield happening at some point in the next 15 years, whatever. So the next Fallout is going to be 10 plus years, I reckon, away anyway. So hopefully by that time they might have got enough canvas in the world.
It'll be quite a while, I think. But yeah, I mean, okay. Anyway, shall I move on to the next one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So this is a quick one. I mean, Nintendo have now ended their creators program. Now, what this was the program that launched in 2015, and it meant that if you became like a registered user of their service or whatever, then 60% of advertising revenue for content that you produce, like featuring Nintendo games, like on YouTube or whatever, you got to keep. But if you weren't registered, then the videos would be hit with copyright claims. So this was always the thing that people that did streaming and ever used to moan about on it, was that, you put anything that's sort of Nintendo up and then you get a copyright strike, like, pretty much, like, immediately. So also, like, all the live streaming was affected by this. So now this is going away, and Nintendo have basically just said they want to make it easier for content creators to make and monetize videos that contain Nintendo game content. So this looks like a good thing. I mean, am I wrong about this? Or is it just...
Definitely
right.
Yeah. I will say this, though. It must be confusing for a company that, maybe had their fingers off the pulse when it comes to, content creation and stuff like that. But it must be confusing for a company saying, there's a guy on YouTube just streaming just playing through the whole game, and people can watch from start to finish. They can watch the whole thing. Yeah, we'll shut it down. Okay, we've shut it down, and now people are furious at us. What, like a few people that have been doing it? No, fucking everyone is furious with us for but they're making money out of just playing our game on the internet. Yeah, but people think that that's morally okay.
It's that, and it's also like, I think a lot of this also was them wanting to control what was being seen as well, because they're like so precious about their content, and it's
but when you want what I'm saying is that there's definitely a feeling from people saying, "Oh, Nintendo are bang out of order for copyright claims there, and they're bang out of order for doing this." But there's part of me that gets it. It's kind of like, I can't believe we're getting away with this now. You know what I mean? Like, I've got this new game, I'm just going to stream the whole fucking thing on the internet. Like,
it's like, because you can't even, like, because you could sort of say, yeah, but, it's not the same watching it. People are going to watch it and then maybe go out and buy it. So, actually, a lot of people say they like streams because it saves them money, and they'd rather just watch the game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's that feeling that if you really wanted to buy the game anyway, that you wouldn't watch it. So I guess that's, some of it. And there must be enough data out there now to say that actually it does help games rather than hinder them. Certainly it helps games like PUBG and stuff.
It's like David Cage's games, does it help?
Yeah, but this is it. It's like, I mean, what I'm saying is that I do kind of understand Nintendo's stance on it. Like, it is kind of like, well, all you're doing is showing our whole game, and you're making money out of that. Like, is that right?
It's like Nintendo with the whole piracy thing, isn't it? Like, they're just so like, what? People are downloading our games for free? Stop them! Like,
yeah, and I get that as well.
And you're like, well, yeah. But it's like, well, actually, it's way more complicated than that, and there's a heritage argument and a bunch of all other stuff. But it's
there's been all that with their music as well, isn't there? Recently,
oh really?
Like, where they've been stopping people from like sharing like OSTs and all that kind of thing of like soundtracks and stuff.
Okay,
which has obviously annoyed people.
That I don't get as much, because it's like, soundtracks are so closely linked to, in video games anyway. Soundtracks are so closely linked to the games themselves that people listening to soundtracks generally, I think, that's either promotional material or nostalgic, listening back to your favourite music and stuff. Like, I get that. I can't really see Nintendo's argument toward that. But that whole, when you read that statement out, and that, when you were on this content creators sort of scheme or whatever, and the idea was Nintendo takes 60% of the cut, I just thought, God, that's a bit high. But at the same time,
no, it's all around.
The YouTuber gets 60%.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So then 40%. Like, I mean, they're streaming their whole game, all that work they put into that game. I don't know, man. It's
but
weird.
that's the same argument you got with like the Apple Store and like, also like Google Play and all that, because they take like, 30% or whatever.
It's their shop front. Like,
well, exactly,
it. Yeah. Who's going to be downloading it? The thing is, right, I get both sides. I'm not saying Nintendo were right for doing that, because, it's hard to know. I don't know the data or whatever. But, like, what I do is I do understand that stuff. Like, I do get it. It's kind of like, how would we feel if someone took this podcast and did a reaction video to it and made millions out of it? Like, how would we feel?
Well, that's different, because we're not making millions out of it, but Nintendo are making millions, so...
But that doesn't make a difference.
If someone did that and they were making about what we do on the Twitch subs or whatever, then that's comparable, and that's like, oi, that's weird.
Yeah, but people are making millions out of streaming Nintendo games. That's the thing.
Yeah, but Nintendo are also making billions, every day.
Yeah, so I guess no. As I say, it's very conflicted. I'm definitely not on one side or the other with this.
Yeah.
I do understand both sides of the argument, but I guess they've seen that, despite the fact that they've taken this stance and tried to take this stance, that they're fighting a losing battle there, and any sign of Nintendo changing their ways a little bit is a good sign, I think.
Yeah.
Because
but maybe I've seen the other side. Like, actually, loads of people just like what that gets lots more eyes on their games, where maybe people aren't fussed about it. But if a big streamer or something plays it, maybe their millions of viewers and followers stuff will want to play the game. So maybe they see there is a benefit elsewhere.
And I think the timing of this can't be ignored as well. Like,
exactly.
Out. So
yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one is that EGX is moving back to London, and so it's coming back in 2019 because it's been at the NEC for the last 5 years, and it's going to be at the
been
XL.
5 years. Fuck me.
Yeah, and it's going to be at the XL in London. Also, they've said to help people from the north out, Gamer Network is going to be providing transportation help to and from London and time-limited discounts on tickets.
What?
And Rez is saying at Tobacco Dock. But yeah, that's it.
What would you do if they all got all the Northerners in one place and then horse and cart? Come on.
So this has been really interesting, because when it moved to Birmingham, I was like, okay, Birmingham's not as good. But also, a lot of the whining was just people in London being like, what do you mean I've got to leave London? Because that is a thing. people in London don't fucking like leaving London. And now
Yeah,
it's
great.
and now it's
Alright,
like
Sean.
Good reason for that, Sean.
and then there isn't. And now it's like it's the inverse in that I'm like seeing the news that it's going back to London. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm quite happy that it's going back to London because it is a little bit better. But also, fuck everyone who lives in London being like, this is much better for everyone. Like,
No,
it doesn't...
fuck, leave off, Sean. Right, this is it, right? Okay. The thing is, the fact that Birmingham was brilliant. Like, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people that's like, yeah, but where it belongs, man. Yeah, fucking best city in the world. I mean, I do think it's the best city in the world, but there was a lot of people replying to those messages saying, great, now I can't go.
Yeah.
But then when they moved it to Birmingham, there was a lot of people saying the same thing. Like, from down here. And I'm not just talking about London, I'm talking about people, from Brighton or Bournemouth, but, there's people down south of England. Now, I get that Birmingham is more central, and I don't know the reason why they're doing this. So there could be anything from the fact that, we did notice that, I don't know if you noticed, but they were still selling tickets right up to the event for the NEC. And whereas that never happened when it was in London, they were sold out, a month or so beforehand. And the NEC's massive, and maybe they just weren't getting the numbers that they were. Or maybe it's just easy for them logistically.
It's just the first one that is being planned since they got bought out by the PAX.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
maybe
yes,
this is a decision that's gone above them. I don't know.
Possibly. And there's like, it sucks for people up north. I get that, and I totally feel for you, and it does suck. And if like, I had to stop going to EGX when it moved up to Birmingham, mainly because my son had been born and we were low on money anyway.
That's not what you said at the time, Dave.
I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there.
Wow, that's the end of it. You said that's the end of EGX.
I'm not leaving London, apparently. I will say this: I love EGX. They didn't announce it in the right way, I don't think. Because this was obviously going to upset quite a number of people, and they posted a tweet the day before they announced it going, huge news, tune in tomorrow. And then they went, we're coming home, they celebrating. I was like, yeah, people could be pissed off for that. And then when you looked at the app replies, my word, were they pissed off with it? Like,
I mean, like I say, like,
crazy.
I'm not being all northern about it. Like, I'm quite happy for it to go back to London. It will be a better time. However, XL, I've never been, but I've seen where it fucking is. It's fucking miles
the XL's
out.
fine. Yeah, but you got to remember that anywhere inside the M25 is relatively. I mean, the further you get out of London, the harder it gets. XL's fine to get to. It's fine.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, like, tubes and trains down here, they're all right. They're all right.
Isn't that DLR you got to get there?
Yeah, but then DLR's a piece of piss as well.
Yeah, that's one of the good ones.
Don't even need a driver, mate. It's fucking it's just a robot. I'm part of me was gutted just because I went to since it went to the NEC. I've only been twice. So I went last year, or this year rather, and I think it was like maybe the first year it went to the NEC. And I wish I'd given it a better go because we did have a really good time this year. And I didn't realise like quite how easy it was to get from the NEC to the centre of Birmingham. It's 10 minutes on a train. And that's like, so now I sort of feel like I'm probably not going to have many more excuses to visit Birmingham, and maybe I'm just not really going to get to know it. So in a way, I'm sort of sad about that, but also
I don't know. I'm fine with that. It was
No, I like. I mean, we went out in Birmingham. It was fucking blinding, but you are going to have to explain though, because you've said it several times that people might get the wrong end of the stick, Sean. Like, you're saying having it in London's a better time, but you've got reasons for that, right?
Just in general, like, it's just. I mean, for one thing, it's the fact that most of my fucking mates live there and will definitely be there. That, like, for me, that's a big one. Like, and I know because I know more places in London, and I'll plan my evenings out and stuff. Whereas with Birmingham, it was pretty much like we went for that one meal, and then beyond that, it was like, well, I don't know, I guess we fucking hang out. I don't. As it happens, it was great, but yeah, there's just more to do, isn't there, in London, basically? And I mean,
this is better. I mean, I bet it's going to be better for the actual developers and actually the exhibitors. I have a thing.
And there was more like
attract more.
Yeah, and when it was in London, there were more sort of loosely networked events around it. Whereas I wasn't aware of anything like that happening in Birmingham.
Because isn't it London Games Week? Isn't that in and around?
Yeah, so there was all sort of weird, sort of syndicated events around that. So that was really cool. But yeah, and none of our listeners have really said anything about this, have they?
No, but yeah, I mean, it means that I might be able to go this year. Yeah. I mean, God knows what state I'm going to be in. Next year. But yeah, there's a chance I might be able to attend, which is great for me personally. But no, I genuinely do feel sorry because I felt the same way when it moved up to Birmingham, and I know that the people that are further north than Birmingham, it just means it's even fucking further away from them, and I feel bad for those people. But on a personal level, I know what it feels like for when something you love to go to every year just moves away like that. But yeah, I mean,
I know. I also get it as well.
It's a shame
because,
for some, good things for others.
Like, because this now means that Rezzed and EGX are both in London as well, whereas they've always sort of moved around and they've always been in slightly different places.
Have they? I thought EGX was. Oh no, EGX started up north, didn't it?
No. In the first year, it was Leeds and London, and then it.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and then Rezzed was Brighton. It's possibly been somewhere else, hasn't it? I think. But yeah, so they've kind of all shifted around. I think this is now the first time where they are both definitely in London. So
I think you're right. I think it's probably part of a branding thing, isn't it?
Could be
like, I mean, maybe eventually it'll get renamed PAX or something like that as well. Like PAX London or something. I don't know.
Do Eurogamers still have a say in it then?
I mean, they must do.
They part.
I think. I mean, and I'm pretty sure when the purchase happened, I think they were very much like, no, EGX is going to carry on being its own thing. I don't think.
Yeah. I think even in the acquisition release, they said a part of the big reason is because of the live events and that they want to do that. So, and
that's right, because I know there was a few years back, wasn't there? Like it was like a questionnaire or survey or something that was very clearly like, we might bring PAX to the UK, and they've obviously seen what EGX has become and been like, well, why compete with that?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time really until either this is renamed or they bring something else. But yeah, the other they also do EGX Berlin, so they probably want to say EGX Berlin, EGX London. They probably want to have it as well, really. But
sorry, go on.
No, as the person on the pod who's the most north, who lives furthest north, I mean, it's still, I mean, London's 2 hours on a train, so it's probably about the same. So it doesn't really bother me at all. And and like Sean, I know many more places in London than I ever would in Birmingham. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I've been to Excel a billion years ago when I went to the European Computer Trade Show with Matt Morley. So I know the place well.
Maybe there'll be a reunion.
Maybe I might get Matt on board. Yeah. Sorry, Sean. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say the other thing we haven't mentioned is it's now like a month later than it used to be.
Yeah,
it's in October, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's now late September.
Yeah, so now it's like 17th to 20th of October.
That's a pain, that is.
Oh,
is it?
Why?
Well, it just clashes with schedules and stuff. It's a bit annoying.
What?
I'm assuming this is something to do with the academic calendar that he doesn't want to go into.
It clashes with that, which is it's a bit annoying.
Oh, they didn't get involved. They didn't.
I mean, it makes no odds to me, but it's just interesting.
I might even be able to bring Harry next year.
Shit. Game on the show.
Would you want to do that? I mean, even this year, would you want to?
Yes.
I thought of doing that with Rachel,
and stuff. And they're so hot and
that's exactly why I decided.
Yeah, but he's going to be 5. He'll be all right. Nearly 6.
I mean, basically an adult, and it's like,
come to the pub with him.
He's going to be walking around just saying what are those people queuing for Fortnite?
He's going to say that. Yeah, he's going to pull a Matt Murray on us. Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so the last story I got is something which happened today that we were starting to look at, which is that Starbreeze are in trouble. So they published Payday and Overkill's The Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead hasn't done very well, and now the company has filed for what they call reconstruction. So they're looking for investment to avoid getting put into administration. Apparently the staff are still going to be paid, but no payments are going to be made to suppliers for services or goods or whatever at this point. And the CEO's left the company, and now the deputy CEO is sort of taken over. And we're not sure, I mean, people aren't sure what this means for Payday 3, because that was going to be something we're going to be working on. But someone who worked there contacted me today, which is really good, to tell me about what sort of things,
another little bit of journalism from
Is this someone I know as well?
It might be.
Yeah.
And,
I can't believe you did that.
I mean, he said that there hadn't been any redundancies that he was aware of yet, but because I asked him whether he sort of felt that, was the writing on the wall already with this, and he said that, there'd been signs for a while. He thought it was because it's like over-expansion, like really rapid growth, and apparently they were building a VR park.
Yeah, I was going to mention a VR headset. It's going to have like a massive, like 200 plus degree field of view.
Wow. Because I had like a website. It was like starvr.com, and I mean, he said that it felt like they had like a magic money tree or something somewhere that was like paying for all this, but clearly, obviously now not. And
Payday did quite well, didn't it?
The original did.
I thought it's
Yeah, so I mean, it is a shame and it sucks, but at least it sounds like. I mean, this is an awful thing to say, and I get it. We've been through redundancies in my places of work before, but at least it seems like a normal redundancy process as opposed to what.
It's not
usual
like
bullshit.
It's not like a Telltale game.
The bullshit that games devs have to put up with. You know what I mean? It sounds like there might actually be a consultation process, which
it's
is
great, isn't it? We're now at the point where it's like, well, at least they're not massively breaking the law, guys. Come on, let's go.
I know, it's bad, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. It's a shitty thing to say.
Where is located?
Are they in Stockholm? Are they?
Okay, so it's European Union, yeah?
Yeah, Stockholm District Court. Yeah.
So it's European Union, so you've got like rights and protections that you don't get in the US, and that we also will lose soon. So,
hooray!
That's probably maybe helps a bit. Yeah. But that's it. That's the end of the news, really. There's not really anything else.
Right, I suppose it's time to get on to what you've been playing. Yeah. I'm curious to talk to Matthew Murray first this week.
Yeah, so we played 2 games this week. The first of which is The Gardens Between. I know you guys.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot. I forgot you played this.
Sean, have you played this, or is it just James and Dave?
I've played literally about half an hour of it. I've done maybe
you played a quarter of the game.
Okay.
You could crack on. Yeah, so the game it was out on Game Pass last week, and obviously I remember you guys, Dave and James, talking about it fondly, and I was really excited to play it, and I'm really, really glad I have played it. For those of you who don't remember or haven't played the game, it's a game where you play as two friends, a boy and a girl, and it's basically a puzzle game involving time manipulation. You can send time forward, you can rewind time, and use that throughout these really beautifully crafted levels that all seem to surround sort of memories, and like all the levels are around themes. There's like one with like a massive like VHS tape, and there's other things where it's like a theme of like rainy day, and like all levels are really beautifully rendered, and they really take you to another place. But yeah, the game is a puzzle game. And I think one of the early examples, and certainly the one that Dave and James used previously, is that you would make time go forward, and you would walk over a saw that was just in the level, and then if you walk back, the saw would go up and down, and if you walk forward and back after 2 or 3 more times, that saw would basically cut through a piece of wood, and that wood would then create like a bridge or something else, so you could navigate a bit further through the level. But yeah, no, I'm super, super glad I played it. I thought it is really, really beautifully done. It was short. It's like, took me like 2.5 to 3 hours or so. I know James said it took him like 90 minutes, but
I didn't say me 90 minutes either.
Yeah, it took me a little bit longer, but no, I thought it's excellent. I'm really, 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 really glad I played it. I thought I knew where the story was going to go, but it definitely surprised me, and I'm really happy about that.
The ending, which obviously we won't spoil, but the ending is just so well done, and it's so different to what you expect and what you usually see, that it kind of catches you off guard, and you just think, oh fuck no, but that is still really, god.
It was the one where I was relieved by the ending, to be honest, because I was just like, I was hoping it'd be something like that, but then I was worried it was going to be something else.
But also, it's incredibly sad, so it's kind of like, it's like bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it was sad, yeah. But yeah, the puzzles are really good. So yeah, the aim of the game basically is to get to the end of this level, and it's sort of, the whole level is on like a rotating. It basically spins on its axis.
Spiral,
on a spiral, yeah. So you're basically trying to get mostly to the top of this level, and to actually complete level, you need to have this lit lantern. So on some occasions, you may get to the top, but you need to make sure that you get to top with this lantern, and then there's moments where you might have to like pick up a lantern and put it on another machine, and then like rotate the level, continue on the level that lantern gets taken elsewhere. You need to get that lit. Maybe you need to rewind time to retrieve it again.
There's some of them you have to go, right, okay, they're on that lantern, So now I've got to rewind time and see where that lantern started and then where it goes throughout the level.
I know that particular bit you're talking about. Yeah, and there was some really, really great puzzles. There was 2 I got stuck on. I mean, not enough to look at a guide or anything, but there were 2 like I really had to stop and think, hang on, so how does this work? Because the good thing is because so the levels are pretty short. You could probably whiz through one if you know if you know how to get through it, you could probably get it done really quickly. But because of that, there are also little like checkpoints or checkpoints in the level. So you might have activated a certain part of the level and then you can't go back any further. And although that might seem limiting, actually that's okay, great. I know I can't
really
go
smart
back any further.
Because if you're stuck on a bit and you're thinking, well, hang on, did I fuck up a bit further back and not realise it? Whereas by stopping you, the game's like, no, don't worry, box that bit off. Don't think about that anymore.
Otherwise, because we said at the time, it could be so frustrating to like go back and forth throughout the whole level to try and work out what bit you did wrong. Instead, it's sort of just, it's like a gentle nod. Yeah, no, don't worry, it's only this part and you can solve it within this little area. So... yeah, because that would have been incredibly annoying, but they totally get rid of that, don't they?
There's one like about 2/3 of the way through, and basically one of the other mechanics is that there's loads of these like invisible bridges throughout the game, and you need to have a lantern on you to cross one. And at one point I was like, oh, hang on, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm really stuck. And I thought, I have to go all the way past there through the bridge, but then I realised, oh no, I don't have a lantern anymore, therefore I can't go across that bridge. So that was actually a relief, and it does make you think, okay, the solution is right in front of me. I can't go back any further. It's only what's in front of me now in the game. And
there was one time during that playthrough though where I thought the game's bugged. And it's let me across this bridge, and now I can't go back to do the solution. So I'm going to reset the level, and then the same thing happened again. I went, all right, okay, so maybe the solution... oh, it's here. Right, I gotcha. You know what I mean?
Like, it is very elegant with that stuff.
You've got to trust the game.
And, like, it's really impressive the way... like, even though I've only played a little bit of it, so maybe it's going to get way more complicated, but, like, for a game that's all about you just moving time backwards and forwards and occasionally interacting with things, and it's about identifying the things that sort of exist outside of your manipulation of time in some ways.
Yep.
But that's never difficult to do. Like, it's always, even though that, you know, there isn't like a fucking, like, so in Braid, for example, which, you know, like the first world, which was basically, that was the trick. It was like some objects weren't affected by, you know, sort of you messing around with time. They had to like have like a green fucking glowy effect on them. In order to message that to the player. Whereas this is all just really organic, and there's no like, oh look, this is flashing, this means this will do what it wants independently.
Yeah, totally.
Like there's none of that, but it just works. It's nice.
And what helps with that is that because it is sort of a way more scripted than than a game usually is, you know, because it is just fast forwarding and rewinding a cutscene essentially. I mean, it's more than that, but you know, if you really wanted to sort of devalue what the game's doing. But what that allows the game to do is to really work on the animations. And a lot of the sort of player messages from the developers to try and solve some of the puzzles is dealt with by animations that you couldn't really do, not cheaply anyway, like in terms of a normal game mechanics. It actually, you know, there are bits where a player will look up and sort of slightly either point at an object, not in an obvious way, like, press that, you fucking idiot. It's just like little subtle movements of hands or just a little glance to the right-hand side that they don't have to worry about, oh, but is the player going to walk over it? Because they are, you know, because it is, you know, it's all pre-rendered, you know. So these little animations, and as I said on the podcast, it allows them to... they really, really utilise the fact that they could play with animations in this way. Like, there's moments where the two characters walk past each other and they just touch hands, just for a brief second. And it's things that we do a million times with our partners, you know, or our parents or whatever. You just sort of brush their hands or whatever. It's just a natural sort of thing. And of course it can do that because those two characters are definitely going to be in that place at that time. So let's animate them so that they are having these little, and it's really striking. I think that sort of stuff really, really impressed me throughout, and it does some clever stuff with that later on, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad you like it, Matt, because I mean, I adored it. I thought, I agreed with James that I felt that there could have been more here, but there didn't necessarily need to be.
Glad there wasn't.
Yeah, there didn't really need to be. It never gets to the point where, like, there are bits in the game where you're controlling two timelines at once, and you've got to try and line up the timelines. This isn't a solving of a puzzle thing, Sean. This is like, it's just a new mechanic that's, I think, is about halfway through, and then for the rest of the game, there's loads of these like sort of two timelines going on at the same time. Right. And they could have just pushed and put, now there's 3, and it just didn't need that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just stops short of becoming.
I think it takes a lot for a game to actually just to stop and not go too far. And like a mark of any good game, it was adding new and more interesting mechanics as you went on into the game. But I also really appreciate the fact it was just like 2.5 to 3 hours is a really refined experience. So it didn't need to be longer. It could have been, and it could have been worse off for it, but. And it could have been way more complex, but I think at some point it's like, okay, so I'm juggling 2 or 3 things at once and having to rewind to change something that happens in the future. But no, I really appreciate it. The first thing I thought when I finished was that's just like a really beautiful story, and it was and like it does. It was just such a lovely way to end it, and I was like, I just feel nice inside. I'm really glad I played it. And anyone who's got a Game Pass, which the game's on there now, or has it on Switch, or wants to buy on any of the other platforms it's on, I definitely recommend it. It is, as was said before, 2 to 3 hours long. So if you're comfortable with that, it's a really rewarding experience. I think it's excellent.
I think I need to.
Also, I was really glad that. Sorry, Sean. I was really glad that it. While I was playing this game, it's so abstract while you're playing it. And I was thinking, although you play games and they're ambiguous, like especially the endings and stuff. But there's so much imagery there that you can kind of piece a story together. I wasn't getting this at all, and I thought this is so abstract that if it does leave the ending ambiguous, then it's going to completely, it's going to feel a bit flat because I haven't got enough out of it to sort of piece together any sort of story of my own. And when it didn't do that, and it just went, nope, this is what this game's about, like out of nowhere as well, it was kind of like, oh man, that's really cool. And then you start thinking about the mechanics of the game, everything you've been doing in the game, and the imagery, and then you piece it together, and you're like, holy shit! Right, that's my theory of why this whole thing's happening. I know the story. The story is damn clear. That's why I think all this is going on. And yeah, it's something that I hope we get to talk about maybe in a couple of weeks when I'm trying to get it through to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I think I've sort of been playing it wrong a little bit. Like, I've just been dipping in and out and doing a level, and I think I need to just get my headphones on and just do it in just have an evening on it. And
I mean, it's nice to sink into. Definitely a one session type of game, and
yeah.
But I don't think you're missing out on anything there, Sean. Yeah, I think I mean I do think that it's beautiful to put headphones on and sink into it and just play it through. But at the same time, don't think that I'm not going to get this now, because you will. Yeah, you will. Okay. When you get there. Cool. But yeah, highly recommended, and it's out on Game Pass now, so if you've got Game Pass, man, fucking pick it up. What are you playing it on, Sean?
Switch. It was on sale. It was down to like a tenner or something.
Oh my god, fucking hell, I mean, that's brilliant for a 10 quid. Yeah. That's definitely worth 10 quid. Get it.
Awesome. Right, the other game I'm playing is Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
You've out-PC'd me.
I know, yeah. I played 2 indie games this week, Sean. Unbelievable, yeah. But I've wanted to play this game for a while. I've seen a lot of people rave about it, even at the time it came out. I think it got like an essential on Eurogamer. And I've seen other people on other podcasts gradually get through it. I think in relation to Game of the Year stuff. Anyway, I did eventually pick it up. And it's the new game from Lucas Pope, who did Papers, Please. I didn't actually play Papers, Please. I think I've got about 50 copies of it in various humble bundles over the years. But so you guys have all played that, I presume. Is it as brilliant as
I think I only played the beta.
I was going to say,
he
put out like a free
original concept
free demo, didn't he? Yeah, which was still like an hour long or something. It was really generous, but it was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've played as well. I've got as you say, I've got like 50 copies of the game.
I should probably go into playing that. But
it's really good. Like, it's not like
it is good.
You know, when people bang on about a game like that, and then 5 years have passed, and you sort of think, oh well, there's there's probably been other stuff that's done its ideas better, or but no, it's still fascinating, creepy, and interesting, and
cool. Yeah, I should play it. I've definitely got multiple copies of that. So once this is done, I want to play that. But Obra Dinn, it's I guess the best way to describe it in a sentence, it's a detective game with this really like unique monochromatic art style. Loads of people think it's like 1-bit, like basically like early Macintosh games. If you've seen pictures of it, you know exactly what I'm saying. But if you haven't, you should Google it because it looks stunning, like a really. It's really detailed, but it's also really incredibly simplistic because it's monochromatic as well. But it's a really, really unique art style. But the Obra Dinn itself, it's this ghost ship that's turned up after it's been on a voyage around the world. Basically, it's turned up, and the whole crew and everyone on board is dead. And it's your job as you're basically an insurance person, an insurance adjuster for this company who owns the ship, and it's your job basically to find out what happened to every one of those people on board. It's a first-person game, but as I said, like because there aren't any sort of on-screen there isn't a HUD or anything, so all you really get to see is this incredible art style. But yeah, it's first-person. But either way, you basically walk around the ship, the Obra Dinn. There's bodies throughout the various sections of the ship, and it's your job to basically find out what happened to these people. For every person on the ship, you have to answer. There's basically 3 questions, and that's who that person is, how that person died, and who or what killed that person. When you're near a body, how do you describe it? Basically like a magical pocket watch appears, and you basically press the action button, and then you're basically then transported into a flashback of just basically a second before that person died. The flashbacks are really great because they're basically just a black screen with the audio. So the audio is really, really captivating. It's done really, really well. You can hear the waves crashing into the shore. You can hear in some instances uphill screaming or things just running around. You hear like gunshots, stab wounds, punching. You hear it all in like really visceral detail. And on screen, it's just black screen with potentially some text on screen, and that's about it. Once that flashback ends, and they're only like 10 to 15 seconds, so the flashback is giving you what you think is happening in the scene. Then you're then transported into basically the scene as that person died, but it's totally frozen in time. So you can go into scene into murder scene in many cases. You can wander around. You can see like the moment of impact. You can see who else was in the room. You can see who actually was. Who was killed, who was doing the killing, how many people in the room, where they're looking, are they running, are they coming from a door, are they looking shady? So you can investigate this diorama of what happened basically, and then it's up to you, to work out who did it and who killed, and also who was killed, as well as the pocket watch. You've also got this book, and in that book is loads of information about everyone who's on board the ships. You've got everyone's names, and you've got their vocation. So whether they were the captain, for instance, or seaman, I said seaman, or basically where they're working on the ship. So you've got like basic details, name, also their nationality, which also helps if you can hear accents in the flashbacks. You're like, okay, I hear an Italian accent. How many Italians are on board? There's 2 here. That person I think was over there.
Okay.
So you can use that sort of stuff just to corroborate who you think may or may have been killed.
Matt, how many people are there on the ship?
I think there's like 60 odd. So there are lots. So I think there's 60 odd. So in the ship here, you basically have like a manifest of everyone's on board. You have also pictures, like hand-drawn pictures of everyone in various scenes, and you can look at all these pictures, but most of the pictures are blurred at the beginning, and then they become detailed, and you can actually see who's in the picture. That happens once the game has basically told you enough information for you to have a decent guess or a confident way of defining who they actually are. So right now, loads of people's faces are still blurred. Others are crystal clear detail, but I still don't know who they are. Yeah, so you basically use the pocket watch to work out, to get information. You use the flashbacks to work out what happened in a scene. And then it's basically a case of trying to work out who the people are. Now, I've only solved, I think it's 9 so far. What the game also does is, so you can go around, you can take out, I think this is like this guy called John, he was killed by this person and he was stabbed, whatever. And once you get, for every 3 you get correct, then it tells you that those 3 are correct, rather than not telling you after every one, or maybe not telling you until the end. It tells you in groups of 3, which is at the beginning it's like, oh, this is quite tough, because then I could have like loads of the various people I've like guessed their name, or I know their name, I know who they were killed, but I don't know who they're killed by. So I've got tons of people on the ship right now who I haven't finished, but I'm like 1 clue away from doing it. But no, I'm really enjoying it, but I am finding it really difficult. I don't know if I'm too stupid for the game, but yeah, because on many of them, you can see, I can see that person's been stabbed. I can watch a flashback, but then often I'm just like, well, I know that person's got a beard and they're wearing a hat, but I don't know any other clues. But just like any of these sorts of games, it has the odd moment of genius, and you think, oh, that's amazing. Like, I was looking around one of the decks last night or night before, trying to find out who this person was who'd been killed, and I realised but basically there are clues near in this certain section. I was like, oh my god, okay, so that person is that person. This, and it's sort of like it's sort of dominoes, I guess, where once you get 1 clue, that means you know a bit more about someone else. Like, I'm currently trying to find the identity of this guy who's got like a hat and a moustache, and if I get him, I've got like 2 or 3 other murders where I think I can understand who's actually done what.
Did you see Josh Garrity's tweets about this yesterday?
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. So Josh basically said, "Oh, Obra Dinn is like really great to play if you've got someone who's got incredible." Well, basically, I presume his other half is like she's like really like
18th century naval historian.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but and basically, Josh was saying that she was she knew who was doing certain things on the ship just by looking at the people's uniforms and the hats and so on and so forth. I don't have 18th century naval knowledge, unfortunately, so I'm definitely
also what worries me about this game is that I'm so shit with names. What's his name? Brian? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the character's name? And you complete the game. I guess I'm not doing that.
But I mean, again, like a lot of these like great puzzle games, I'm like writing notes on my phone. I'm taking pictures and sort of annotating a thing. I'm saying, okay, like I know this person's Italian, but where was he in that scene? But I'm finding it quite difficult. Some people liken this to sort of detective game Sudoku, where you can have 1 number 4 in a line of Sudoku and 1 number 4 in like in a block of 9 numbers. So okay, if I've got 4, I know there can't be any others. So through the process of elimination,
Matt,
yes, James.
Okay, this is a stupid question because I'm interested in this game. Could this work on like non-PC platforms?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, this will. I mean, it would easily come to other platforms. I mean, I'm playing with my Mac with an Xbox pad, but you can play it with the touchpad, and it's just directional buttons, and yeah. I mean, it could easily be done on a phone, I guess. Or on
so this could come to Switch, right?
Oh yeah. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't, frankly. But yeah, the first night.
Matt, how much was it?
It was it's like £12.24 on like G2A. You can get a code for it right now. It's like,
oh really? I think it's like
yeah,
because on Steam it's like 15 or 16 quid.
Yeah, 15 or 16. But yeah, it's like I think it's G2A. I think I might have had dodgy history in the past. Anyway, those guys, you can get a code
in the past.
It's like £12.30. Yeah. So, but I've only solved like 9 so far. I've got 9 confirmed. I've like got loads of other bits of other like people who have almost done, but there's like 60 odd on board. Although I think on like Beastcast a couple of weeks ago they said you can finish it without getting all 60. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm just like, but I'm struggling with it, and I guess I just need to think about it more. But there's so many possibilities, and like one person could be in like 16 or 17 different scenes. So it's like, okay, so what do I have to go? I go to each scene to hope there's a clue about that person, maybe a name or nationality. And
I'm assuming you can rewatch scenes, right?
Yeah. So you can go around the entire ship. And this is one of the issues I've had with it is that you look at this book and you can look at a picture of this person and it says this person is in like 6 scenes. You can bookmark those scenes so they appear on the map much more easily. But you have to physically walk around the ship to go to those scenes. You can't just say, show me every scene with this person. So even saying, okay, I need to find who this person is. I'm just going to view all their scenes. They're still it's a bit laborious. You have to go up here and down there and then watch that scene. So that's a bit of an issue. But yeah, you can rewatch scenes, and I've rewatched tons of scenes. And yeah, I mean, I think the sound is brilliant because you really do get transported to this, to this ship to hear all the, the screams and the sounds, and yeah, that's really incredibly visual and like visceral.
The screams
and that
lovely
combined
screams.
with
James would be loving that.
Oh yeah, it's very much a one for the fan of screams. But that combined with like the really like unique art style, it's a really like great feeling. It does transport you to another place. But yeah, I'm struggling, but I am enjoying it, and I'm going to endeavour to keep going because I've heard such great things. And like I said, like any great puzzle game, it's when you get those moments of realisation, you're like, oh, hang on, that means that, and it's worth it for those moments alone. So I'm going to keep playing it, and yeah, I think it's excellent so far.
Cool.
If I do,
All right.
might have just sold a copy.
Yeah, you should get it. But in terms of because I was originally waiting for it to come to other platforms, but then I thought I want to get it played before Game of the Year, and I know other people are talking about it. So yeah, it's on PC and Macs on Steam. Yeah. If anyone's interested, you should give it a go.
Cool. Sean Bell.
Hello. Same old shit. Destiny 2 still good. New stuff is out this week, I think, but I don't get paid for another 2 weeks, so that's going to have to wait.
But what have you've seen the roadmap? Like, and everyone's saying like the roadmap's crazy. I looked at like the image, and I know historically Bungie have also always said, "Oh, this has come out in this month, and this come out in that month." But looking at that roadmap of content, that's like, wow, that is a fuckload of content to get through. That sounds really exciting as a Destiny fan.
Yeah, it does seem really interesting. Yeah, so for those who've not seen it, this roadmap is basically, obviously from left to right, it's just like going through the next year. And then basically the top half of it is what everyone gets, and the bottom half is what you get if you've got the season pass. I think that like they're trying to put less of this emphasis on like, it's like whenever one of the new expansions comes out and it's supposed to be like, holy fuck, it's like a new game, and it's not really. So I think they're sort of trying to spread it out a bit.
But it's a bit confusing, isn't it? Because when I think of season pass, I think, okay, you buy a season pass for a game, that means you get all the DLC for that year, for instance. But this, obviously, you can buy the new DLCs in physical or as like a separate game. But in this case, season pass is like a separate once a year like payment in addition to the DLC, isn't it?
No, I think it's if you have the season pass, like that is it. You get everything basically.
Okay, but I think you can also just buy the DLC without sezen pass, isn't? I thought Red
can you? Like, I wasn't sure. I thought it was basically season pass or nothing. I don't know.
Okay, sure. I thought you could go and shop and buy like the new, like the Forsaken or whatever the new DLC is. As like often they come out in September. You've got the DLC, but that doesn't give you the season pass. That's like a separate thing. Anyway.
No. But yeah, basically that roadmap sort of shows that it's like if you don't want the season pass, here's what you still get throughout the year, which is quite cool. Still enjoying that. Still because I'm still going into the Dreaming City because I haven't explored it all that much. I'm still finding cool things. Done another one of those Ascendant challenges I think I mentioned last time. This one wasn't anywhere near as horrific, so that was nice. So yeah, I think I am on paper raid ready now, but I would rather be raid readier just to compensate for the fact that I'm maybe not always that good at the game. But we'll see. What else? Oh yeah, so Red Dead. So Red Dead Online is out.
Oh yeah. I played that.
Anyone else? Of course, you streamed it, didn't you? How did you get on? I didn't get a chance to watch it.
It was fine. I mean, I was playing on my own. I think with a posse view, maybe it'll be better. But I mean, the shooting model in that game is, I guess, fine for single player, but not when you're suddenly playing like PvP against 16 other people.
It's so bad, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, this is not enjoyable at all. I mean, it's basically like aim at that person, press up on the stick, but it just wasn't.
Yeah, but you got to remember, see, because I've got to jump to its defense. I mean, I haven't played it, but the online anyway. But I've got to jump to its defense slightly. Mm-hmm. the reason why GTA Online was such a success wasn't for the death matches.
No, I know.
And there's people kicking off about the economy, but one of the biggest complaints about the economy in Grand Theft Auto was that they totally ruined it by giving away so much money. It completely fucked the economy of the game. So now it seems like they're being way tighter.
Yeah.
And remember, it's still like a beta that I've got no doubt that, I didn't want to jump in this week because, mainly because I haven't finished the single player campaign. But part of me was also thinking, it's going to take a while for this to get good. But I know it will get good.
I'm not saying like, it's out and it's shit. It's just, it's just interesting to see what, how they've reacted to GTA Online and what they're trying to do differently this time, and whether or not it's
you're
working.
Totally right, Dave. Yeah, the GTA Online the market was fucked because they're like, log in now to get 500,000, money. It's like, this isn't working. But Rockstar have always said in the last couple of days that they've obviously taken on everyone's feedback around like the in-game economy and tons of balancing.
Totally will,
So obviously they're going to make tons of changes. But
Yeah. So the example that has been coming up in the news and stuff is that, like, was it like a gold watch or something is worth less than like a cat?
Yeah,
it's worth less than a
gold
can of
wedding
beans.
ring or
can of beans is worth more.
Yeah, that's right. So basically, people are finding that it matters a little bit, like how much you feed yourself and stuff. And people are like, I'm doing missions and I literally can't buy enough food. Like, never mind like guns or clothes or anything. I didn't realise this, and I now feel silly because I bought a leather jacket that cost about $50, and I'm now realising I probably shouldn't have done that.
Big spender over it.
I know.
Everyone else is wearing rags, and Sean's like, "Fuck this."
But yeah, like I've been quite impressed that like there is like a story mode of sorts in GTA Online, and that's really cool. Like there are little cutscenes for the missions and stuff. It doesn't feel anywhere near as disjointed as GTA Online could when you're trying to just join a mission with your mates, and then you fucking had to go to a lobby and sit in there for 2 minutes. And then
I mean the menus are massive upgrades, and for that alone, it's great.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about I've not been griefed on it yet, but the game does sort of seem to welcome it. Like there are plenty of missions you do that basically once you've got like the precious cargo or whatever, it then points you out to all of the players on the map. Like, if you want to kill this guy, go for it. You'll get something for it. Which, I mean, GTA did that as well. But then in GTA, you're usually speeding around in a car or a fucking helicopter or a plane or whatever.
Yeah.
So usually, if you were good enough,
you
could get away from people. Whereas in this case, it's like, you're just on a horse and and you're just in a fucking desert. And I guess you feel a lot more vulnerable, I think. But I don't know. I mean, like I say, we'll see how that pans out. Maybe it's not that big a deal.
Can you play poker online?
I don't know. Not tried.
I need to check.
I'm very sure it did recently you could, but who knows? But you feel more vulnerable, and also it feels like money's harder to come by. So you're like, don't kill me on my horse, or please don't do that. Like I said,
the amount I play poker, I'm going to be the richest man in GTA Online. I'm just going to be rolling up. You're going to be like, I can't afford a can of beans. And I'm like, here's 8.
But then we'll say, like, David Turner's has one at poker. So everyone's like just congregating on the poker table waiting for you to finish. And
I was going to say, just wait for Dave to finish and then fucking shoot him when he walks out.
I'm as good with my guns as I am with my cards. Know what I mean?
Another thing that there's I guess it's clever. This is like a prequel to Red Dead 2, so there's no worries about storyline and how that affects what happened in Red Dead 2. So
it's kind of I don't think it's anything they could fix. I don't think it's the game's fault. But obviously, going from playing the campaign where you can fucking say hi to everyone and the characters and everyone's got their own little routine, playing Red Dead Online does feel quite sparse in comparison and a little bit dead. Because there's no.
I mean, but that was the most alive world in any game ever.
Exactly. Yes, it's not on Red Dead Online's fault. I think it's just something to adjust to or something to be aware of when you go in. I'm very keen to see how it goes. Very keen to I've played with a couple of mates for half an hour. But I want to spend a full evening on it and see how that goes. I have not.
Hold on, before you go and jump off Red Dead.
Yeah. No, I was going to carry on with Red Dead. Yeah.
Right, so we've both done chapter 6 now, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
and obviously, very keen not to spoil anything.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we guessed a lot of what happened, right? We did. We totally.
We didn't mention it on the show, so we can say yes. I mean, what I will say is this: I really wanted to do a little spoilery bit where we just talk about the end of Chapter 6. The end of the main story in that game.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, and Matt has said to me, because he's done the epilogues and we haven't, we're playing through that. He said you can't really talk about the main story without finishing the epilogues. You need to have that in context as well.
Yeah.
I'm trusting Matt here, but deep down, I don't fucking believe that a second. And what's worse is that I'm never going to get both epilogues done by next week. So, dear listener, you will never hear what I think
you can
about
do
the
it,
end of the game.
Like,
I've got so
be like,
much to talk
when you
about.
When you finish the epilogues, we want to hear more because of things. So, yeah, we can do it, but it will...
No, but that's not what you said. You said you need to talk about the end of the game in context with the epilogues.
Well, basically, obviously more things happen.
I don't believe that's the case.
And...
more things happen, but does that affect the main story?
He's the only one who's seen it, so we've got to trust him, haven't we? So
exactly, that's what I'm saying, Sean. But do you trust him, or deep down are you thinking that this is a load of old bollocks?
Nothing happens, baby.
Oh no, I want Sean to answer the question. Do you trust him on
I'm
this?
trusting him. I would feel more comfortable waiting until we've definitely done everything. But I also understand your frustration that it basically pushes you out of the discussion.
Yeah, I want to talk. There's still some stuff that happens towards the end of that.
I mean, you're not discussing the...
Well, no, I can't, though, can I? Because it's not in context with the epilogues.
If this is the only thing you'll get a chance to discuss ever again, then do it. But I just feel like...
Well, you've robbed me of that, and you've robbed the listeners of that. I hope you're happy, Matt.
I put my bandana on, and I robbed everyone.
But
I'd be interested if you have completed it all the way through to the very end of that game. Do you think Matt's right? Don't spoil anything on Twitter, but just let us know.
Yeah, do things happen? Yes.
Yeah, well, things happen, but that's not what you said. Right, okay, go on. Yep.
All I was going to say is, there is a story event that, I mean, calling it like a plot twist is not really right, but it's a major story bit, and I was just really impressed with how the broader implications of that are handled and how they come to define... Like, it felt like the game was trying to say something by the end. It wasn't just just a story about cowboys. It was about something bigger than itself, and that was really impressive. I was really quite blown away by that.
I thought it was wonderful. There's one scene, and we've spoken about it privately. There's one scene towards the end that is one of the most cringiest things and awfully played out things that I've ever seen in a computer game.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I don't think it was as bad as you thought it was.
It was like it was dropped into from another game. It was so bad. But what I will say is that apart from that, everything just blew me away.
Yep.
Everything up until the end of that chapter 6 was like fucking wow. And I said, and I can talk about this because this is definitely not a spoiler. What makes it so important, like what really summed it up for me, is that there's a mission, and it's not right at the end, but it's starting to build up to a sort of a climax. It doesn't feel part of the ending process of that chapter. There's a shot where the whole gang is off to do something, and there's just a shot of them overlooking something on their horses, and I said, "Fuck! Look at how many people are in that shot." And I feel like I know every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that's Sadie. I've spent a lot of time with her. I know her very well. There's Dutch, there's Micah, there's Arthur. Like, the amount of characters that were in that shot that I felt could be, protagonists in any other game. Do you know what I mean? It was incredible. Like, just that one shot really hit, I was like, right, that's why all of that build-up was important. Because now we're all going to do something, and I care about every single person here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like what we said, it's like the Walking Dead effects, where you feel that you start to know lots and lots of characters, and then when stuff does go wrong, then suddenly you're like, fuck, no! You know what I mean? Like, you actually give a shit. And
I the other game you can compare... that, though.
What are you talking about?
I don't think I ever got invested in these characters as much as
you breezed through it.
Yeah, but I still played every story mission. I should still see.
No, part of the process was sitting down and playing fucking cards with him every night, or just sitting down and joining in with the parties.
This is what I was worried about, because everyone said like you're supposed to like take your time and experience this so that you really like, you know, get in with the characters and all that. This is what I was worried about, just like plowing through it.
Yeah, I'm not skipping cutscenes, and yeah, a couple of characters I absolutely love, but generally, when they had those initial trailers, like you're gonna know everything about every one of these people. Like the main ones, sure, but there's also like loads of people who are like, who are these randoms in the camp? Like it's only like.
Who are the randoms? What randoms in the
There's
camp?
always the guy who like you take like your hunting stuff to, and like there's other people. Like, I mean, there's like the 5 or 6 main ones. The rest,
name
like,
is Pearson.
Yeah, Pearson. Yeah, like, I don't know anything about him.
You don't know anything about Pearson.
I no, I don't know anything about Pearson.
But early on, you find out about his parents and his relationship with his parents, and
fuck that.
That's a story mission, Matt.
Is it? What did every mission?
Where you take his letter.
Oh no, I don't think I've done that. Maybe it's not.
I will say that they're based out 2 or 3 in like early chapters.
Sorry,
once you go past,
Yeah.
you're unable to do them. But I did every story mission. I probably just,
Yeah, no, I do remember it now. Yeah, it's a story.
Oh
anyway,
my god, are you kidding? Matt,
I'm saying there are amazing characters, but it's just like a very small core group, and nothing like in Life is Strange.
No,
like,
it isn't. You've missed out on so much because.
I didn't believe I have. I've done every story mission.
Say that again. What did you just say?
I think it's just like, it's not like Life is Strange where someone dies, you're like, oh my god. It wasn't like that for me.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, all right. I cannot relate to that at all.
A couple of people died. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Fucking hell.
That's because you were rushing through it. Like,
okay, but I'm just telling you my experience.
Sean, there's some of the deaths in that game were like fucking. They hit me harder than any other game.
Are you joking?
Yeah, they're bad, man.
I mean, yeah, there are also like whoa moments, but generally, I'm like, wait, it's there was 2 I was massively emotionally invested in, obviously, and the rest I'm like, some I do not care.
Okay, oh, this is really weird. Okay.
Can you imagine if like one of us died and Matt's just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, well, he's only a side character.
Acquaintance.
Yeah. It's quite like a Telltale game, is it?
Honestly, that feeling, that genuinely, Matt, that shot of them overlooking that thing towards the end.
For that one, I was almost like punching the air. Like, this is amazing. Yeah, there was some incredible, like, I guess like the camaraderie and like the feeling of there were some amazing moments towards the end. We like, come on.
I just imagine that sitting in Matt's front room. All right, yeah, but who's that one? Well, that's Arthur, Matt. You've been playing him for the past. All right, okay, yeah. Sorry, Sean. We sort of
no, it's fine. That was all I wanted to say. That's all I can say without spoiling it. But yeah, I'm like still So I'm doing the epilogues.
There's also this thing that after Chapter 6 is over, I mean, it's one of those games. It reminded me of Mass Effect on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
From knowing my team, like essentially the people on the Normandy and stuff like that, knowing them that well.
Yeah.
I felt the same about the characters in this, but also the fact that the pace changes quite a bit, and I think I have blitzed through the last 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Mainly because it felt like I needed to, like what was going on around me and things that were happening. It felt like I had to power through the story and not like it wouldn't feel right to.
Yeah, it doesn't feel appropriate to be fucking around. Yeah, it's
exactly
playing poker for 7 hours at a time.
Like the thing is that there's obviously a lot of people have complained about the change of pace after Chapter 6. Now, I've played a few missions now in the first epilogue, and like that change of pace for me is so welcome.
Yeah,
because I loved the start of this game as much as I enjoyed towards the end of this game. I really love that slow pace stuff right at the start.
Yeah.
And it feels like I'm going back to that now, and that's really nice.
Yeah.
Like I'm really, really enjoying that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but the ending of Chapter 6 is amazing. I thought, the story is what has elevated this game. It's so high for me. It's just the ending was fantastic.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, good game.
Good game.
Quite like
Anything
it.
else?
Yeah. No, that's it, mate.
All right, well, I'll do my bit. James Farley dropped off a PSVR. So, right, okay, before I get to that, Rocket League is now 4K on Xbox, so I'm probably not playing anything else for the rest of the year. And I tried to get into Burly Men at Sea and just found it really irritating.
It's not a great game, is it?
I just found it really, really irritating, so I didn't play it. So anyway, PSVR. I played Tetris Effect and PSVR for a while. Yes, it does add a lot. I really like how intensely bright it is at times. And, the one thing that blew me away was just how 3D it is. Because obviously, you're not really seeing the 3D stuff. But when you're playing Tetris and, a jellyfish flies, right in front of your face, I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck, this is in 3D now. That was pretty impressive. Still don't think I still think it's been a bit overrated. I really do.
I don't agree. But
no, I agree. Tell you that.
I agree with myself. Yeah.
Sean,
go on.
I think, I mean, you really like it anyway, and you probably would have, but I was expecting a bigger step in VR, and I think that's mainly because of the nature of the game.
Yeah.
I'm so focused in on the tables that I'm not really paying attention to what's going on around me.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially between rounds, it's pretty stunning because everything goes bright and it flies at you and stuff like that, and it's pretty incredible. Also, I like it when you get a dodecatrice or whatever, and then the board, obviously it doesn't do it on a just normal television, but in VR it sort of explodes and the pieces fly towards you.
Right.
That was pretty cool. It's full of cool moments, but there's nothing that makes me go, this is why everyone's thinking that this is special in VR. It's not really hit
but
me
you didn't like the music that much, did you? It's not hit you with
some
that.
of the music is fine. Some of the music thinks alright. I think that last level music's pretty good. I think the first level music's pretty good. But there's a lot of real average music in there compared to his previous games, in my opinion. That jazz one.
Mate, it's fucking brilliant.
Fucking hell. No, it's not.
It's great, the jazz. For fuck's sake.
What about the Fire Party?
Which one's that?
Oh, well, the one that ramps up and ramps up.
The Fire Party. It just cracks me up every time I hear it.
I remember that one. Sounds good, though.
It's the one with the fire, and they've got the people praying towards
the one that was in the demo.
That's amazing, that one is.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
The Fire Party. No, it doesn't really click with me, that. And I really like the game. I do. But I think a lot of it is because it's Tetris rather than what has been added to that. So, and I think some of the game modes are smart. I'm really into that sprint mode and stuff. So, I don't dislike the game in any way, shape, or form. But we're getting to Game of the Year territory now, and this doesn't even make my subs bench, I don't think, as much as I do like it. The other game that people have been going mental over is Astro, and last night I sat down and played the first world. I played the first world through.
Go on.
Firstly, before I get onto actually my feelings of the game, I have realised that I really don't like them shoving things in your face in VR. I'm really not comfortable with it. It makes
VR,
me
isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's too much. It doesn't need to be that. You know what I mean? Like that, even that fucking alien thing at the start, that's literally an inch away from your nose for no reason. To the point where I can't even properly see it. It's all animated and shit.
What's the problem with that?
Because it just flies up to your face and you're like, oh, mate, that is just... I don't like things flying at my face like that.
I don't think VR's for you. So much of it is like, oh, there's a thing in my face.
It's... that stuff was a bit annoying. But now, Matt was saying this is like playing Mario 64. And admittedly, I've only played the first world. He's like,
it wasn't just me
it
wasn't just me saying that, but it was.
No, I mean, we all know that you stole that opinion from other podcasts, right? I get that. But Matt was just regurgitating.
I was not saying that. Very clear.
I think you said Nintendo-like quality, didn't you, James?
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, but I wasn't saying it was as good as Mario Odyssey.
I didn't say it was as good. I was saying it's like the feeling of first playing it.
Look at him scrambling, Sean. I mean,
okay, you hate it. We'll move on.
I kind of think that's it even exceeded those expectations for me. Even that first world, I was absolutely blown away from the first moment that I started playing the game, right the way through to that boss fight. I thought, oh my god, this is wonderful. And all I've read everywhere is that it just gets better and better, and I can't quite believe it. If it stayed like this, with the same mechanics through a whole, 2 hours of gameplay or whatever, I'd be like, fine, you can totally pull this off. Hearing that there's even more to discover is I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And it's true what people were saying. It's like, playing Mario 64 for the first time, that feeling is not, with what they're saying with that is not that this game is as good as Mario 64, because that's not what that point is. That's not the point that's being made here. It's like the first time you played Mario 64, it felt like something so unique and so mind-blowing. Like, how is this even happening? How is this possible? How does this whole new way of playing, how they feel like they've perfected it in the first try? You know what I mean? It's like, this is the feeling of running around a group of flowers when the N64 come out on that stick was like, whoa, this is mental. You have loads of those moments in this. I'm okay, saying that you're understating it is not the right way, not the right word, because you are like blown the hype out of proportion. What I'm saying is that even taking all that stuff on board, it still exceeded expectations for me. And I think partly is that, that's my personality of going, well, it can't be that good. And then playing it and going, oh no, fucking hell, it is.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm excited to play more of it, definitely.
Well, because this is one where, I borrowed Matt's one, and played it a bit, and then I was like, I need to just go and buy my own copy of this, because this is, it's so good that I want to, I need my own one. Yeah.
It does get better. I mean, level 1 is so simplistic compared to, every level is like a new mechanic, a new clever thing it does. You constantly, that happens for the entire game to the end credits.
And because that was one of the things that is Nintendo as well, in the sense that it comes up with new ideas all the time, but then just plays them with a bit and then moves on to another one. Without there are bits there where they could have built the entire game around just some sections, but
it's interesting how it does things as well. I mean, the stuff it does with the controller in your hands is brilliant. Everything from the little robots jumping into your pad and then the pad rumbling, but because you're immersed in this world, it actually feels like something's actually hitting your pad as it's landing in there. That feeling of flicking the ropes when Astrobot's on there, it just feels so natural. To make him jump higher. The game is constantly trying to get you to look around. The use of 3D audio is just unbelievable. You can pinpoint where these calls for help are coming from, and you're like, well, I know there's one there, but where the fuck is it? And you're proper. I must have looked mental while playing this game, because I didn't have the TV on, and I was in the front room on my own, and I am properly looking around. There's moments where I thought, where's this thing? And I've looked down and I've suddenly gone, oh fuck, right, I'm right on the edge. And of course I'm not. I'm in fucking VR. I'm in my front room. It's impressed me non-stop. I knew I had to stop playing it because I had that feeling of because motion sickness I've never really got in VR. And there were moments of vertigo, which I'm fine with. But being pushed forward freaked me out initially. It made my legs go.
That got me almost every level. I was like, oh, you don't expect it to. It's just weird, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not on board with this headbutting stuff. This studio seems to want to do this a lot, and I don't think that works when you've got a fucking massive a VR headset on. And so I've just been pushing forward and bumping into them, which is fine.
Yeah. There's a lot of them where you can just I just went forward, but there's others where I feel like you will want to head the things. But yeah, generally, I just went forward and let the things hit me.
also think it's totally stunning to look at. Like, I love the art style, which I know has got to be toned down because of the amount of technology involved, but it does not suffer for that. The art style they've gone for plays perfectly in VR, and just the animations of the little robot. Like in the first level, I don't know if you did this. You probably did. It's probably something that everyone does. There isn't any reason to do it other than just your own curiosity. But right at the start of the first level, there's a big sort of like steel beam that is right next to your head, and you can get Astrobot up onto it and walk him right up to your face. And he's like, it's just like seeing that little character there, and then he goes to the edge and he sort of gives you a little wave, and it's that weird connection because you're in that world with him. It's like, fuck, man, that's my little dude up there. I'm just going to make him walk up to me just so he can wave at me. And like, or if he's walking across the screen, he sort of like just gives you a little glance and stuff. It's like all that stuff builds up to the immersion because he's acknowledging you as a person in his world. Like, it's fucking mad.
And they've made these characters as well that are like, I know this will sound ridiculous, but are not annoying. You know, like
it's the best Sony character. Like that should be their mascot now.
Yeah,
Astrobot should be their mascot. That little, I mean, they were brilliant in the VR Worlds thing, and they were brilliant in that iToy thing that they brought out. Right? Do you remember that it was to show off what the DualShock could do? And he's a better character than Sackboy and you know all the other sort of cutesy characters they've tried to bring out.
Game. I was going to say, it sounds like it's
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that it's going to keep up with what it's doing, and so far, it's fucking fantastic. Really good.
It was great playing, and like James and I were pretty much playing at the same time. I was like, "Have you got to 2-1? Have you got that bit? Have you got to 2-2? That bit? Have you got to 2-3? That bit?" It's like every level, there's something else to talk about.
Well, I'm going to try and do it a world at a time. Obviously, I'm not going to play it tonight. I do feel that I need a bit of space between finish playing and going to bed. You know, like a half an hour, or whatever. But like, so I felt a little bit like it was a bit intense last night once I'd finished World 1. But then I just played some Rocket League and played some Red Dead, and I was fine again. But I don't even think it was that bad. I don't think I was actually feeling the effects. I think I was more worried about feeling some effects. You know what I mean?
I didn't get any of that from this game. I think mostly because you spend most of it sitting down, like playing it, so it doesn't feel like quite so bad. I think with that, they did quite well with like the non-sickness.
Well, you let me Wipeout as well, so I'm worried about that.
Yeah, Wipeout's another thing, but see, Wipeout I felt was fine as well though, because it's like again you're sitting like in something. It didn't really feel too sick.
James,
sorry, I just sneezed massively. So
that was funny. All the others, I didn't feel too sick. That's the end of James. Basically, Sean, you need to find someone with a PSVR and just go over and play some of this because it's pretty special. It really is.
Yeah, no,
just borrow it off someone because you can do it in a couple of days. Well, because the whole game, it's
when all the deals were appearing, and I'd sort of considered it, and then sort of talked myself out of it, and then the fucking deals, man, they were just relentless. So, so in the end, I just said to my wife, I said, "Look, this is fucking everywhere now. Because it's just such an easy look. If you chip into this with like my brother and mum and dad, just fucking get me that. I will have a very good time with it. So I think that's what I'm getting. I saw one
for like 157 the other day.
You kidding?
Yeah, it's mental. Yeah. I mean, obviously stick around the usual places in
So you think it's coming your way? And of course with Astrobot,
but
of course with Astrobot, you don't have to worry about getting all the move controllers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all pad based.
But if I'm getting PSVR, I really want Beat Saber. So that's
you'll get that. But what I'm saying is that like they're smaller purchases that you can make at another time.
Yeah, I can
whereas
stagger it out.
If you just try and do it all in one, then.
But I mean, even if they haven't got me it, then. Tom, if you're listening, that's my brother. Just bring yours, Christmas Day, we'll do
it. When are you picking this thing up, James?
I don't know because Matt asked me this, and I mean, realistically, it's not going to be.
Why was Matt getting involved? What's this? It's none of your fucking business, Matt, is it?
But anyway, I mean, realistically, it's not going to be until the new year. I think now, is it? Because. Well, it's not, is it? Because it's like, I mean, I'm not going to probably see you again, am I? Until
well, you're welcome to come round and just pick up your thing. I'm not going to. I'm not an arsehole.
I know, but I don't know how long you're going to want it for. It's
Well, no, honestly, it's yours. You pick it up whenever. But yeah, just let me know because there is. I mean, I've definitely got to get my brother over to play it at some point.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to stick him right on Wipeout and hope that he throws up. I'll clean it. Don't worry, I'll clean it. But yeah, no, very impressed. And I don't know if I've said this already, but Joe's given me the go-ahead to let Harry have a go. So, I mean, I don't know what that's going to be like. He's probably going to freak the fuck out, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I was questioning that. Like, I'm not usually worried about that stuff at all, but I do think maybe that's a bit intense for a 4-year-old.
It might be, but if just start Astrobot and put him in for a second, he'll blow his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of just not letting him hold the pad so that he's not fucking around with that. Just let him just have a little look around and stuff.
It's a special game, that Astrobot.
It is so far. I'm looking forward to playing more of it, and I've definitely got to get it done for the Game of Year discussions. And that's it. That's me, James.
Yeah.
Sneezing again, are you? Sneezing?
Yeah, I was sneezing again, yes.
We are.
I don't know, I'm just sneezing a lot. It's not
are you muting every time you sneeze?
Yes, of course.
Don't do that.
No, I'm looking.
To be fair, if he wasn't muting it every time you sneeze, you'd have a go at him for that as well. So
I know that is true, but it's so much funnier to hear, James. What does a James sneeze sound like? That's what we all want to know.
Well, you heard the beginning of one, and then it didn't work out.
A James sneeze, also the title of the show. So, right, go on.
Okay, so I mean, I've got very little because all I've played since last time was still playing Spider-Man, which I'm still enjoying. Although, as I've noted on Twitter, more collecting has opened up, which I wasn't very happy about. But
I still saw your tweet saying I got all the pigeons. I was like, I knew you would.
James said to me, James, when he come over, he just went, yeah, I'm playing Spider-Man at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. I said, are you? on Twitter, it just seems like you're fucking moaning about it.
No, because it's like, okay, I got the pigeons. Okay, here's some more stuff to collect, and that kind of annoyed me a bit. But it doesn't matter because, like, you know, it's still fun to just like fly around. And if it wasn't for that, I would be annoyed with the game, but I can't be because it's still just
because
really
it's actually fun doing it. So how's the story progressing? Are you actually getting through the story now?
A bit. I mean, I'm not even that far into that either. I don't think.
Oh man, you should do that. It's before Game of the Year.
Yeah, I probably should. I mean, maybe I'll do a U and I'll just
smash
burn through it and just do the thing.
Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. So
what do you mean,
good.
I didn't actually mad about it.
But anyway, yes, you did.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, the only other thing that I've played is been Pokemon, which I'm now like 20 hours into, and I've only got 2 gym leaders to beat, and then I'm up to I think the end game. I'm not sure, but I mean, again, this is another game which I was not expecting to enjoy, but even though it is like everything I've said about it, I still would stand by the fact that it is like a RPG-like kind of thing, but I'm still really enjoying it. It's still just fun to sort of just like play. And this is something I've done with this game, which I hate doing generally because I don't agree with it, but I've done it in this case because it's just what I've been doing, is listening to podcasts while I'm playing it.
Oh, yeah.
And it
that's
feels...
dodgy.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a Matt Murray thing
but you
to do.
slated Matt for that.
The music, James. The Pokemon music.
The music in Phoenix Wright games is significantly better than in Pokemon.
You wouldn't know, mate. You listen to podcasts.
Yes, Matt.
So yeah, I'll be doing that a lot, and it's just, I don't know, it's fine. It's a nice experience. I'm enjoying it, and also the kids are still loving playing it, so that's good. I mean, every time we play, because like Ash has been collecting like Pokemon cards from because we got this shop, like this independent game shop close to where we live, and he sells like 10 cards for like 50p or whatever. So I mean, they're all like the rubbish ones, but Asher doesn't know that, and he just goes down there and every week.
James, hang on, you've got an indie game shop, like an indie video game shop near where you live.
Yeah.
How often are you in there?
Very rarely. I don't go in there.
Okay, because I thought, okay, James, like, I don't wear my TCGS t-shirt at home. Like, why would you do? But I can imagine every Saturday, like, hey, so
walking in there. Any discounts for celebrities?
So, I don't know if you heard Video Game Podcast, but I am on a successful one. This t-shirt, that's the Kickstarter, mate. Whatever. It blew, smashed the target.
Reached target in 30 minutes.
Again in the shop, isn't it? Fucking hell, James Farley.
He walks in there, goes, "Have you got a copy of Juice?"
Yeah, everyone. Everyone? No, okay. They don't get it. Explain to them later.
Ramalabata.
Hey, have you got any David Cage games?
He done? Can I continue?
In the beginning. In the beginning.
Everybody. Yeah. Oh, have you heard episode 129 yet? Fucking hell. You tell the Michael, am I right? I can't believe you did that again.
Anyway, I gotta go because it's getting a bit late and I'm tired, guys. Yeah.
Last one. Am I right?
James, I'm sorry, but that was very funny.
Have you got the Pokemon cards?
Okay, so anyway, he goes and he picks up Pokemon cards, and it's been good because when we've been playing this, because all the Pokemon cards he's got are really old ones because they were really cheap. It is all the same Pokemon that are in this game. So often, like, he'll be sitting there and it's like, you come up against someone. Okay, it is a bit annoying because I just want to get through the game, but he's like, oh no, I'm going to look at my cards, and he digs them all out, and like he's like, oh, you ought to use this one with it because it's got a weakness to whatever. But he's loving it, so that's been really nice to do. So it's good.
Sorry, we really destroyed that sweet moment then, didn't we?
You did, yeah, you totally wrecked it, you fucking assholes. Anyway, Anyway, so the other thing I played Juiced, which I played. I played this on Sunday, and this.
you saying it like this is a newsworthy event. You're on it every week, James. We know.
Yeah,
loves it.
So this
what was it like pretending not to have played it before?
Eh?
Go on.
That was what was weird because you see, before I played it, I was considering should I do a mat and look at the stuff on YouTube, and see what it's like. But I didn't, and I thought I'm just gonna go into it cold. But it was, I wanted to say again, thanks to Nathan and Chris O'Regan for from the Sausage Factory and Kane and Rinse or whatever for making it possible for me to stream it because I couldn't do it because I haven't got a PS2 or whatever, so I took it over there. But the trouble was the game was pretty much what I was expecting. It was really exactly what I was expecting.
An average racer.
Say again?
An average racer.
Yeah.
I've always said it. It's like an average racer is the worst type of average game because it's like, okay, yeah, we're going around a bit, and it's like, there's not much you can say about it.
And that's the thing with it because it looked a lot better than I was expecting it to. And I think that's because this was like a late generation PS2 game, so it really looked not bad at all. I was quite impressed, considering what it was, and it's got all the other stuff so I'm going to sneeze again. It's got all the.
Don't mute it.
I'm going to anyway.
Don't mute it.
It's got all the gambling stuff, and it's got all the car modifications and stuff like that, but the whole thing obviously feels pretty dated at this point, and it's difficult because it's so difficult to talk about this game because there's nothing really amazing about it. There's nothing really bad about it either. It's just absolutely fine. It doesn't deserve to be slagged off at all, which I didn't anyway in the first place.
James, how many times have I got to remind you? That wasn't actually a dev.
I know.
You were doing it during the stream. During the stream, you were going, "Oh God, these logos are all." They're not awful. They're just. They're not really the sort of thing I go for. And I'm like, the dev's not watching. The dev never existed. He was winding you up, James.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
But either way, it's fine. It's very much like it's a product of its time. It felt like very sort of like PS2 era kind of thing, but it's fine. It was fun to stream. It was good to stream. The best bit of that was when you select your character and you start it all up, and then the next thing you have to do is select your mobile phone, and it presents you with all these
it was pretty funny.
All these pre-smartphone mobile phones, and that genuinely made me laugh.
The placement is just like Vodafone.
You saw the Vodafone Live logo, and there's also that character TK kept on coughing because I was taking too long to select stuff, and he kept on just going and I was just thinking, Why are you doing that? It was
the best thing was when it's the only racing game I've ever seen that goes slow down, calm down. No, I thought maybe that's like the game warning that you're approaching corners too quickly.
Yeah.
But there was a bit where like James was coming up to this corner and it was like, brake, slow down, brake, brake, brake. And then he just he didn't and just went round the corner. Like, no
and it was
problem.
fine.
It was just so weird.
See, that was the other thing. Yeah, I was going down a straight and I was like, it was like a really long straight and I was using nitrous and it just kept on saying, slow down. And you're just thinking, why? Why do I want to slow down?
Especially when it's
point?
got like such a street attitude, during the cutscenes and stuff. It's like, yeah, money on the fucking hood, yeah, whoa, girls, and driving around and way. All right, slow down, HUD Rada. It's like, just all right, okay, chill out, game. Yeah,
but it was okay. I mean, I'm glad I played it. It was worth worth giving me a look. But yeah, it's I was saying to Chris afterwards, I was saying like, this is the kind of game. I wouldn't have bought this when it came out, and I didn't buy it when it came out. But if I'd have been some kid or whatever, I wouldn't have been devastated to have owned it. It was
if
fine.
I'd have been some kid or whatever.
If I was
James, you were some kid at one point, mate.
If I was some kid or whatever.
If I'd have been some kid or whatever.
If I was one of those children that I keep seeing around.
But it turns out I'm the computer game show's James Farley. Don't know who I am? Go to my local indie store. Doing sign-ins there tomorrow.
Posters everywhere. I bought it myself.
Oh my god. Right. Can we somehow contact this indie shop?
No.
Send them a framed photo of James and get them to hang it behind the thing.
Please don't do that, because it's like... Because Chen goes in there all the time, and she's already like super embarrassed about all of this.
Imagine if Chen walks in there and there's a signed photo, black and white photo of James Farley behind the jump, like you get in barbers.
Don't do that.
It's happening.
I wouldn't do that, James.
To use that catchphrase.
That was a joke, Sean.
To use Matt's catchphrase, it's happening. Get it done, Matt. Get it fucking done, son. Right, okay.
I'll tell David about all the plans, Matt, if you do
Don't do that, James.
A reminder, James lives in Canterbury. Right, okay, should we get on to emails and tweets?
Yeah, better, Ad. Fuck it, what time is it? Right.
Late.
If you want to email us, thecomputergameshow@gmail.com is our email address to which you can send emails. Kurt Lewin says, Happy Christmas to you all. Happy Christmas to you, Kurt Lewin. James Juice Stream reminded me of how there used to be quite a few races where you could customise the look of your car to the nth degree with games like Juiced, Midnight Club and Need for Speed. I used to really enjoy creating my own unique looking car using the various sliders and paint jobs. Yet this generation, I can't think of any games like that. You can customise your cars a little in the new Need for Speed games and Forza Horizon, but it's no way near as in-depth as with those older games, and I always had wondered why these types of games have stopped. So my question is, are there any features that used to be common in games that no longer seem to exist?
Well, firstly, Kurt, and I appreciate your support over the years, but that is the most fucking insane email I've ever read. Are you suggesting that there's more customisation to cars in Juiced than there is in Forza Horizon? Because Forza Horizon, you can literally customise everything. I mean, it's insane the amount of... Have you seen... There's a computer game show, like, fucking... Come on! The customisation in Forza Horizon is insane. Like, it's insane. And if you can't be bothered to put the effort in, there's hundreds of thousands of different paint jobs that you can download from people all over the world. You're mad. You're mad. You can do that. You could tweak the handling. You could tweak the engine.
Yeah, you can change
the suspension.
I mean, I'm surprised. Well, I looked at those screens once. I was like, I didn't know this game could get this detail. But no, I'm not going to touch the dampener or the torque to get better handling.
Add spoilers. You completely customize paint jobs. It's crazy.
That is a spoiler. So. Yes, it's ridiculous.
Just get Forza Horizon, because if that's what you're after, that game has it in.
Well, he mentioned it. That's what got me.
Yeah, I know. He's not played it, clearly. Okay. He can't have played it. I mean, it shoves all that stuff in your face from the get-go. But yeah, get an Xbox and get that.
No.
Get features that were in games. Right, okay, so obviously, it's one we've mentioned before because we've been asked this before, but we haven't said it for a while. putting your photo in the game.
Yeah,
no one has done it better than Rainbow Six did it. No one has done it as good as that. That was with the Xbox Live Vision camera. You took a photo of yourself and it went in the game, and it was done perfectly. FIFA tried it. What in Rainbow Six? It was perfect.
Was it okay?
Like,
I never tried the Rainbow Six one. I did. What was? It was one of the Tony Hawk's ones. Did it?
Everyone else tried it. And it was shit.
Okay.
FIFA, they tried it.
The FIFA one's really funny.
It was so bad. You had to do it through their website, and then you were in the game, but it just completely fucked everything.
Yeah,
up.
I did it on FIFA. I've just sent you all the picture of what mine looked like.
It's just hilarious.
When I did that, me and my mate James, when we were putting my picture in FIFA, we laughed about 25 minutes straight because I'll put it on our Instagram. But the sideburns go the beard goes so high up.
Oh man, I wish you did look like that.
The sideburns of the beard go like above my eyebrows.
That is pretty incredible.
It's a total joke. But like you remember that, James, don't you? You put your camera in it, and then when you went in a multiplayer game with all your friends, all of their faces loaded in, and when they spoke, the mouths moved, and because like there was a lot of like. Sort of helmets and masks and stuff. It really, I could look down like a sniper rifle and see James. I knew it was
and
James just by the face.
Over and over again.
Yeah. That was what I like doing. And the rumour was, I don't know, it was just the rumour floating about at the time, is that the technology was brilliant, but it was also... There was also copyrights and all over it.
Okay, so there's probably just horrible licensing involved. And,
horrible licensing stuff. Okay. But surely technology's moved on enough to do it in a better way now.
Maybe.
So.
I mean,
isn't it just because they're worried about it being like a murder simulator, aren't they? And it's like...
I guess,
Because, it was like, the whole, so Euphoria, the physics engine, was in GTA 4, and everyone's like, oh, this is amazing, why has it only been in Rockstar games? It's like, because Rockstar pay the people who made Euphoria a lot of money to work for them and put it in the game, and it's a fucking nightmare.
But it is still impressive. They're using a version of that in Red Dead, right?
Yeah.
The way you fly off the horse, it looks so funny. Like, we've seen so many videos of people riding along and then flying off or getting knocked off their horse or whatever. It looks so funny because of that engine.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's so close to the flailing around that you would say it's just
it's so different to the typical ragdoll stuff. But
exactly. Yeah. It's the business.
Right, Adam. Sorry, you done?
Yeah.
Cool. Adam Staff says, I'm moving house tomorrow. Be too late by the time he hears this, whatever. Tetris aside, is there anything I can play tonight to prepare me for the ordeal? I'm trying to think
More packing.
To be fair, Red Dead's got a lot of packing up and moving around.
Shenmue 2.
Shenmue 2?
Yeah, the bit where you're just carrying the boxes out, and it's dull and boring, and you feel like you never want to do this ever again, but then you know that you have to. Shenmue 2 is the ultimate moving game. It simulates that perfectly.
Yeah. Any others? I think there's not many games really focus on the excitement of moving house, are there? Because it's a fucking
missed opportunity. Like, moving simulator could be. Yeah.
Could be.
Moving houses, there's heavy rain. You move from that lovely house to that shitty little apartment.
Jesus. Right. Alex D sent us a really big email detailing some incredibly unfortunate bad life shit he is going through at the moment, which I've redacted for the sake of the podcast. But yeah, I hope you're doing all right, man.
No, for the sake of saving him, surely. He put
it in the email. I assume he was okay with us reading it out, but whatever. But then he says, I threw myself into Hollow Knight and found a rich, interesting world full of lore and memorable characters. After I finished that, I ventured into the Commonwealth of Fallout 4. The game has had its share of negativity, but I found it to be an incredibly immersive experience, which I've been able to totally lose myself in. Turning on my PS4 and wandering lonesome around that world has been almost like an alternative existence. It has genuinely helped pass the many boring hours I've sat on my own at home during the day recently. So my question is, have you ever used games to escape from bad situations and as a tool to help you through difficult times? If so, which games have worked for you?
Yes, on a daily basis.
Fucking hell, James. I'm trying to think. I have a distinct memory of one of my aunties passed away when I was only I was only 6 or 7 or something. And basically, because mum and dad had to deal with that, they just took me to one of my mum's friends' houses and was like, "Can you just keep him for the evening?" And I just sat and played Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive. And I just thought, you know what, this is easier than just thinking about what's actually happening.
Definitely.
And I remember like my mum's friend coming around and being like, "Does your mum like limit like, you know, how much time you normally spend on this or whatever?" And like, of course, in hindsight, the answer to that was, well, no, but I've never been like avoiding grief before, so it's not really been a problem until now.
Yeah. No, we've done my story before, but yeah, when I was playing, I think it was Civilization or something when my granddad had a stroke, and that was just I was actually weirded out with myself. I was like, why am I playing this? And you know, you look back on moments like that and go, yeah, that's what I was playing at. Yeah. I didn't want to go through the emotions. And, you know, I don't do it knowingly, but there's definitely been times where I've been in shitty places and you totally forget about those moments when you're playing Rocket League or, you know, Rainbow Six. That was one that helped a bit. And, but I've never had that. I can't relate to that whole being aware that you're using something to escape reality. It's always been something that you look back on and go,
that's what I was doing.
I don't know. I mean, Animal Crossing has always been one of those things for me. Like, is that because it is like that sort of just like nice world. You know, it's like, you know, you just go into that and you're like, oh, forget about everything else. This is just going to go and get some apples and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah, like I was reading a thing. It's going back a few years now, but like saying, I think it was when like Angry Birds was on the rise. There was all this chatter about like, oh, loads of, like more people are playing games than ever. And this article was like, well, of course they are, because like good game design is fair, right? There has to be fairness to it, because that's how, you know, games feel satisfying and don't upset us. And if life is feeling increasingly unfair, of course, so then video games are like this perfect like antidote to that, because it's like, well, if I play a game, I know that if I just make all the right decisions and do all the right things well enough, I'll succeed. And unfortunately, real life isn't that simple. So it gives people a sort of certainty that they don't necessarily get.
Because also shooting the shit out of like digital characters is
great. Yeah,
cathartic.
Yeah,
it's one of the only places that you can really like have control over stuff. Really, you know, like complete control over everything. Whereas in life nowadays,
unless you're playing The Last Guardian, do not use that as a game to get that sort of effect. But no, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. Matt, did you have anything to add?
I can't really think of a particular game. I've definitely done that, but I use music for that to get through those times. But I can't think of it. I've obviously have done that, but I've just I guess just like you said, you don't really realise it until it's over. But I can't think of a particular game, sadly.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I did that with San Andreas, because when that came out on Xbox, I'd just gone through like breakup kind of thing, and I remember playing that like all the time, and that cheered me up a lot.
That is. But yeah, hope you're doing all right, man. Not you, James, the guy who sent the question. David Trapmore says, was wondering what everyone's opinion was on the quality of games released this year compared to the previous few years. I've been thinking about my Game of the Year list and have been really struggling to think of games that I've really loved this year. Other than God of War, Dead Cells and Hollow Knight, I've gotten into far less games than the previous 2 years. I think this might partly be due to now having a 16-month-old son, and my gaming time has been a lot more sporadic. But even looking back over what's been released that I've not played or only played a bit of, I can't see anything else that I think comes even close to previous years, where I've had an easy 10-plus games that I thought were amazing. As another newish dad, has Sean also struggled with his list? Now, I've seen quite a few people saying this. Has anyone else?
For me, there's been less like Mario Odyssey, Zelda Breath of the Wild, but way more really excellent games. Do you know what I mean?
There are many games that were fucking good, but not as many like fucking, you know, out of this world, like mind blowing experiences. Which
it's definitely it's a year of like 9s for me. I mean, I think God of War I think is probably a 10. But and maybe there's like 1 or 2 others, but generally there's been a ton of really, really fucking enjoyable 8s and 9s this year.
But if they're 10s, my point is, if they're 10s this year's games, then fucking the Mario and Breath of the Wild were fucking 11s. You know what I mean? It's those 2 games were so fucking good. But like what that means is that when it's come out to fill in my list, there's so many games that I'm struggling to think of how I'm going to dwindle it down to 4.
Yeah.
Whereas the previous 2 years we've done it, it's been quite easy. Like, it's not...
Yeah, same here.
Even at points where I'm kind of like, I could put that one in, or... it's like, this one, it's like, how the fuck am I going to get this down to 4?
There is a lot of better stuff. I mean, the year before last, Watch Dogs 2 was on my list. They're really... There wasn't much. Yeah, it wasn't a great year.
2 years ago, that was 2016. I listened to that podcast recently, and I remember thinking, at one point, you go, Watch Dogs 2 turned out to be pretty much my game of the year. Wow. Okay.
Big calls.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. Go on,
I was going to say that it mentions, me being a newish dad. Have I also struggled? I mean, no, but I'm also very aware of things that I haven't had time to play, like Hitman 2. I haven't played Dead Cells. I haven't played God of War. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of right now.
Spider-Man.
I don't know. I think I'm all right.
Some I'm less worried about.
It's funny that, and so many people are like that about that game, and I don't know why.
It just looks like a lot of things I've already played. That's all.
It's a superhero game, though, James. So it doesn't really count, does it? Know what I mean?
I think you killed him there.
Yeah, he's actually slain. He's supposed to do another sneeze. It's fine.
Well, it's not far off his Forza opinion, is it? Right, go on.
But yeah, that's it. But Matt, did you want to add anything else on?
I was just going to say, I feel like I've played loads more games this year, and my top 10 is currently 13 games. But there are. What?
That's insane. It's insane.
He's angry.
What is insane to have 13 games in order you've liked this year? Why is that insane?
How many of those have you like? I don't know. You see, you've done the min-max thing here, Matt. You've done like the whole. You've min-maxed this. It's like you've gone from like never playing or completing games to just rushing through everything so you can have an opinion on it. It's insane.
No, I mean, he's put the effort in. How can you have a pop at him? He's put the effort in this year.
You were having a pop at him earlier for not having played Red Dead hardly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel that he missed out on, truly
exactly
getting the characters or whatever.
That's the point.
Yeah, but then not all games are like that. I mean, that's James, a rarity, isn't it?
James, the reason I'm playing so many games is because you fucked me over last year. So I'm not making that message. I played loads this year. I've played more this year than I have done last couple of years. But yeah, well, what's wrong with that, James? I'm playing games now, and now you're still moaning.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's like it's just I don't know. It's just this extreme, like going from one to another.
I'm an extreme individual, James. I think you should know that by now. But and this year's been a games year. Yeah, I've loved it. But
the games year. He's done a gaming podcast for fucking 2 years. This year, I've been into games.
Quite good, actually. Yeah,
this year I've actually been playing loads. Yeah.
Right. I said that at the time. It's when you were going, I'm really impressed with how many games I've completed this year, and I just thought of that Chris Rock sketch. You're supposed to, you dummy.
Right, sorry, Mark Christie says, I've started letting my beard grow out lately. Whilst watching Matt's Red Dead Online stream last week, I sat in fulsome admiration for his beard. So my question is for Matt. What is your maintenance routine for your beard? Do you use products? If so, which ones? And how often do you trim or brush it?
Say what you want about Matt. He's got a good beard.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, he's got a very impressive beard.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a fine beard. I guess I've got a routine. I go to a place to get a trim once a month, but I also tidy it up myself if I need to. Mm-hmm. I have like a little tiny beard comb I carry with me everywhere, so I brush it multiple times a day.
Nice.
And I oil it every morning, of course. Yeah. Oil is a game changer in terms of itchiness. If you're thinking about growing a beard, it's all about the oil. Then suddenly the itchiness totally goes away, and I shampoo it once or twice a week. That's about it. In terms of the oil I use, I basically use like the one that's in Boots. It's got like the sort of animals on the front. It's everywhere really. I can't remember the brand name. And I use like beard balm as well if I want to make it look a bit smarter and give it some more volume. But
cool.
Yeah, it's not a lot to it.
I would love to grow mine the same as yours, but mine it's like half the hairs grow sort of curled, and then some of them are just straight and just stick out. So even if I just trim it all to the same length, it still I just start looking properly fucking homeless after a bit. It's really bad.
Yeah, but again, like a beard oil. By the way, it's Brisk beard oil that I use, but yeah, it's in Boots and loads of other places. but yeah, beard oils that helps without taming the loose sort of straggly hairs, and then beard balm if you want to go a bit more. If you want to go a bit more, I don't put it on every day because I sort of can't be asked. But yeah.
That is.
That's my boring beard moment.
Tweets. If you want to send us a tweet,
Matt's boring beard moment
at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Wrecked, which I don't think is his real name, says, what's been your favourite Christmas cosmetic minigame DLC that's appeared in a video game? I like the Christmas Z skins on Killing Floor 2. I mean, for me, the best one's got to be the fact that all of GTA 5 goes snowy for the
That's
week.
pretty cool.
And I always fucking miss
if...
it because it's always like literally about 3 days or something over Christmas when I've got better things to do. But yeah,
I wish they did that for New Donk City.
Yeah,
I wish they did it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be good.
But they don't. But I think that's the best answer. I can't think of anything else worth. I
mean,
love it when games do it, but it's not work
we've
for
also
just one
got
day.
Christmas nights being, an amazing Christmas thing. If you would, there's not a DLC because that's the days before DLC, but
it's still, it's an extra thing.
Anything where there's something like a Christmas tree or snow in it would be awesome. I mean, like Fortnite Season 7 starts in a couple of days, and that's going to be all like snowy and icy themes, so no doubt they'll do something. But yeah.
I remember when like Xbox avatars were first out, and they added like all those things like opening presents and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool.
That was nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Don't they do that on FIFA as well, where the commentators go, "Oh, they're playing on FIFA on Christmas Day today," which is a bit strange. Like they do weird shit like that.
I mean, is that actually what they say?
I'm pretty sure. They're like I remember. You can play the same teams against each other. Like Millwall versus Millwall, stuff like that. They used to do it. I don't know if they still do it, but they go, today it's Millwall versus Millwall. It's a bit strange, but this is a video game. It's like, don't do that.
That's great.
Yeah, they did at one point. I don't know if they still do it, but yeah, that shit was weird. It was like, don't do that. I know it's weird, but let's not just reference it. Let's just shut up.
Odd. Right, Oodles says, what is your favourite Christmas ritual? Mine's probably the late afternoon nap.
Well, that's gone, Sean.
Yeah.
It's
that's
gone.
gone.
That's not going to happen. I used to go round my nan's when she was alive, go round my nan's every Christmas Eve and get fucking mullered, like mullered. That was always fun. I remember coming home from the pub after work on Christmas Eve, and there was supposed to, I think I've told this story before, there was supposed to be a family buffet around my nan's, and I just remember turning up at my nan's probably 3 hours early, falling asleep on her sofa and waking up to like people standing around with me with paper plates, like just like I was just like fucking comatose on the sofa throughout the whole party. No, what's my favourite Christmas? I guess the dinner. The dinner's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm at my mum and dad's and that, and we do table presents and they're all pretty fun and. Yeah, I love that shit.
I think getting the tree up's gotta be mine. Getting all
now.
the decks out.
Like letting Harry put the fucking star on is
nice.
a blinding moment.
Yeah, no, I was talking about this at work the other day, and I said I think it's like some weird hang up I've got because like my dad is not good at Christmas, right? He would not do it if he had the choice. Like he literally a few years ago when
your dad James Farley.
It sounds like my dad, to be honest. I mean, that's
so my dad enjoys a bit of mountaineering. So I can't remember, was it last Christmas? It was one of the years where it was our turn to do News Family instead of my family, right? He went to the Alps.
Sounds like quite a Christmas.
Yeah, he just went out climbing in the Alps over Christmas because he was like, well, what's the point in me being here?
Wow. Really? So he was away over Christmas?
Yeah.
The whole...
just on his own in the fucking... Yeah. Anyway, point is, the one thing he always used to fucking nail is he always made sure we got a real tree. So it's like a major point with me for some reason that it's like, well, if I'm not getting a real tree, I'm not even doing Christmas as well as my dad does, and he wouldn't even do Christmas if he didn't have to. So I always really enjoy
like a tree, but we've got a fake one. But I would love to get a real tree every year. But...
We've got a fake one every year. We pack it into the box and say we'll get a new one next year. We started saying that about 8 years ago. I should send you a photo of my tree. It's a fucking state. It's a fucking mess.
I bought a real one last year, and then I just got the grief from Chen about it because she said it was rubbish. And she said it was like, it was. To be fair, it was like tilting. It like tilted really badly and didn't like fit the room properly.
Brilliant.
But I don't know. It smelled nice.
They do smell nice. They are a pain in the arse. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how well you look after it. All the needles fucking go everywhere and stuff like that. One of the benefits from having an old house with a damp problem, though, is it slows down the drying out of the tree.
Beautifully moist tree with those lights on.
dripping tree.
Keeps the tree nice and
mould up the
healthy.
walls.
Rocking around the soggy tree. The Christmas. Sodden. How comes we got so many words for that?
Right, Tom Durbin says Platinum Games is making a combat action game featuring Santa Claus as the hero. What is his weapon of choice?
Candy cane.
It's got to be candy canes. That's
Sack.
Or the sack, yeah, just
fucking
flinging the sack around.
Like those dudes in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
You know, the ones with the massive, great big rocks or whatever. Yeah.
No, I think like candy cane nunchucks. I think it could be.
Do you think he can?
No, that's too cool.
Do you think he can?
It's a Platinum Games combat action game. Of course, it's going to be cool.
Do you think he can summon his slaying to like just bash into people as well? That's like a super ability he's got.
Well, yeah, he's going to summon Rudolph in.
Yeah. I reckon that works.
Shove his red nose right up their arse pipe.
That was unnecessary.
It's getting late.
I was thinking of like trampling people or something. I don't know. Anyway, go on.
James,
I bet you were.
You're always thinking about stuff like that.
answers are weird there.
Luke Summerhaze says, "What is the best way to serve potato? Mash, chips, jackets, roasties? ?
I mean,
Roast
any of these
potatoes,
going to be
obviously.
about any of these questions going to be about computer games.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll scan ahead and let you know. One of them is
potatoes.
No, two of them are right. Okay, good.
out of 18.
Out of
roast
3
potatoes is the answer.
Yeah, it's definitely roast potatoes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dauphinoise, mate.
Oh, shut up! That one on the list.
No, I think he was. I don't think we had
Hot
to pick
bath,
from
too
those.
cold, too hot. It's all happening again.
I mean, out of that list, personally, I'd go mash, but whatever.
I mean, I do love a good mash, but yeah, roasty all the way.
Yeah.
I'm not a
James?
fan of mash. I'm not great with potatoes, to be honest. I don't like mash. I'm not a massive fan of chips.
Not a fan of chips. What sort of an opinion is that?
What's wrong with
Roast-
you, Dave?
Going
They're
into your
overrated.
local chippy, like just some fish, please. You want any chips with that?
I mean,
No.
I'll eat them, but I'm just not a massive
that's not
fan
how
of
it
them.
works.
Passionate. Okay, fine.
Yeah, the roast potato is just glorious when you get it
roast
right.
potatoes are something that for a long time I thought I didn't like, but it just turned out I hadn't had good ones.
You've had bad ones.
Yeah.
Like my mum does incredible roast potatoes, right?
Yeah, my mum doesn't.
My wife's not the best cook, to be honest, right? I do most of the cooking in this place, right?
Yeah.
And she insists on doing a roast because, of course, she does.
Mm-hmm.
And she uses frozen roast potatoes, and it's always been something that I've had to grin through. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, my mum took her aside and just went, "Here's how you do normal roast potatoes. They're cheaper, they're easier,
Yeah.
and they taste a billion times better."
Yeah.
And do you know what? Joe has fucking nailed it. Nailed it. Every time she does roast potatoes, they taste, I'm going to say it, even better than my mum's.
Whoa.
So I'm like,
Mama. Okay.
hey, go on. Just get those fucking taters in, girl. It's cracking. It's brilliant. It's changed my life.
Yeah. James.
I love her again. Right, go on.
James, you got
We got a future again.
Go on.
James died.
No, I said roast potatoes.
Oh, did it? Right, sorry. Okay, cool.
They sneeze for 45 seconds straight.
I haven't adequately answered the question.
Zach Toms says, "Hi guys, love the show, etc. Can't wait for the end of year pod. I have a bit of money for a console this Christmas. Don't have a 4K telly, so not bothered about Pro or Xbox One X. But what would you recommend out of Xbox X or standard PS4? Or would you have
Standard
a Switch?
PS4.
Yeah.
Is that still
standard
okay? Yeah, because I
PS4.
know we get the odd question like this, and I'm always a bit like, nah, do we really need to address this again? But I feel like things have shifted a little bit. But I guess
No, it's easy. It's easy. The Xbox One S is down the bottom.
Yeah.
PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. I
Okay.
think the Xbox One X is the best console on the market.
Right.
I think the S is
depends
technically the
what games you
weakest.
want to play. It
No,
really
I was going to
does.
say,
doesn't.
because
So-
isn't it basically PS4's still sort of got the edge on exclusives, but also with
Absolutely,
the Xbox.
yeah.
With the Xbox,
Yeah,
you pay for
but-
Game Pass and you never have to buy a game ever again. So
Exactly. if you've got a 4K telly, get an X. That's
Okay.
it. You know, it's the best.
What if you want to play games that are like, from Japan or whatever?
Well, if you exclusively want to play games from Japan, then yes, get a PS4. But if you want to play third-party games in the best way to be for them to be played, and you want to play racing games, what racing games can you play on the PS4?
GT
really,
Sport?
that compared to anything... Come on. Compared to anything that's on the Xbox, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that if you've got a PS4 Pro instead of an Xbox One X, you've got the wrong console. That's not the case. We're not that sort of show.
No, because
right?
Last of Us 2 is coming, so it's game over.
We do it to wind each other up more than anything else. But what I'm saying is the Xbox One X, if you're playing a lot of third-party games, then and you want to play them, higher resolution, in the most impressive way, then surely that's the console to go for.
Now, basically, any game that's not a Sony exclusive, I get on the Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, yeah.
And
So
of course, and we're also ignoring the fact of what the old mates play. And if your mates are all on PS4,
massive,
then get a PS4 because you get to play games with them.
But if they're on Xbox, then I guess there's a compelling reason to get that. If all your mates are on Xbox and you want to get a Game Pass and stuff,
exactly.
But,
Kurt Lewin asking the important questions. What makes up your Christmas dinner?
My wife. No.
Hey!
Oh god, I can't believe. No, but
shocking.
Actually, I do. So that doesn't even work in a way.
Right. Okay. Here's the contentious one. Right. Yorkshire pudding.
What? Yeah. How is that contentious? That's surely a key part of it.
No, because traditionally a Yorkshire pudding is not part of a Christmas dinner, and that's the only fucking reason. My mum makes her own Yorkshires, right? And they're fucking... It's not those little ones that you get, the little round ones. It's... You have it like a slice of cake. It's made in a huge dish. It's about fucking 2 inches thick.
It's basically toad in the hole without any sausages in it.
It's just incredible, Sean. It tastes so good. But she refuses to do it on Christmas because it's not tradition.
What? I would be gutted if that was not my Christmas.
That is deeply
it's infuriating. Considering how little veg I have.
Yeah, I've had similar arguments with my family about this, and it's always just like, why wouldn't you want to have something which tastes really good? Like, why would you exclude it?
Because it's not part of a traditional Christmas day. Who gives a fuck?
So we went to the Manchester Christmas markets the other week, and there was a place there that did basically like an entire Christmas dinner, like wrapped in a giant Yorkshire pudding. It was fucking brilliant.
That sounds good.
One of the best things I've ever eaten.
Sounds good. But yeah, no, I mean, like, it's veg and fucking... She does cauliflower cheese. Is that part of it?
What? No.
Yeah, she does cauliflower cheese with it, I think.
I mean, yeah, but by all means do it, but don't then argue that you can't do other obviously brilliant things because it's not tradition.
Sean,
yeah.
Do you want to come over for Christmas, mate? Did you pop over Christmas Day?
The thing that really got me was when I first did Christmas with New, and she was like, we were planning what we were buying, and she was like, "Oh yes, I think I'm going to get this gammon joint," and I was like, "Oh, we're not having turkey," and she's like, "No, you can have more than one meat," and I was like,
"Fuck yeah,
what? You can have more than one meat?" Fucking hell!
My family do about 8 meats.
Yeah, it's like turkey, lamb, and then maybe a beef.
You see,
she doesn't do lamb. She doesn't do lamb because lamb is more of an Easter thing, according to my mum. Yeah. But she'll do turkey, beef, and gammon.
Yeah.
And then my brother will probably do goose because he does goose every year for some reason. But yeah, it all tastes clean. It's all perfect. So.
Yeah. No, that had never been a thing with us growing up. So when I found that, I was like, "Fuck me!" Christmas just improved.
My mum cooks 2 turkeys. She does both on Christmas Day. She cooks 2 turkeys, right?
Yeah.
One so that it's fresh out of the oven for Christmas dinner, and one to just leave on the side for Boxing Day, so we can have cold turkey on Boxing Day. Yeah,
Jesus.
But if you get a massive turkey, then you can just have leftovers for the sandwiches on Boxing Day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but we plough through it.
Does she do the full business with the turkey? Because we tend to just get a crown because we're lazy.
No, she does full turkey. Yeah,
nice.
I'm chewing down on those legs, but I've said this before, but the one that always shocks people is how it's tradition in my family. You're not allowed to open your presents until after Christmas dinner.
Oh no!
You're allowed one present in the morning when you wake up. One present, and that had to be that had to be after Grandad had finished his tea. And you think I'm a wind-up merchant? My granddad was a fucking piss taker. He used to pour his tea. We'd be sitting on the stairs waiting for him to finish it so we could get called into the front room and to open our one present, right? He would then leave it purposefully to go cold, pour it out, and pour another one, right? He's just a fucking nightmare, right? But yeah, we weren't allowed to open any other presents apart from the first one until after Christmas dinner, and then we could open all
what time
presents.
would that be? Like 4 o'clock or something?
4 or 5, yeah, something like that.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
hell, man, that is torture. I just think it was bad enough having to wait for my parents to like have a wash and get dressed.
Yeah, or make sure you have breakfast.
No, I thought it was normal. I thought that was totally normal until I started speaking to other people.
No,
And
I mean,
like, what?
it is quite normal. You're certainly not the first person I've heard of who does that. Could be worse. Could be one of those families that has to go to church first. Imagine that.
Oh.
Well, I love it, Sean. So
Right, we should probably end it there. We've been dragging on and we've
I
barely
got
spoken about
one
computer
more.
games.
It's going to be a quick
go on.
one. Stuart Baker says, my 5-year-old has started to take an interest in playing games. She's been playing Mario Party, Paw Patrol, and Lego Harry Potter, although she struggles with some of the puzzles on the Lego games. What games for Switch or PS4 or Wii U would you suggest for a 5-year-old just starting out playing games?
Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Mario Kart
Yeah, because you can put that on like fully auto and just like
on the Switch version, yeah.
Yeah, and like just do
it's really
the
good.
steering.
FIFA is surprisingly good for kids if your kids
Really?
are into football.
Of course, yeah, you've been. Yeah, you've been doing
It's
it,
insane. Like the difficult. There's about 40 different difficulty settings. The first one, beginner. Like even Harry's finds that too easy. You know what I mean? Like it's
That'll be the
it's
one I use.
literally-
Yeah.
it's parting the seas as you're running through with the ball, and another goalkeeper lays out a red carpet and sort of gestures towards the goal for you. But yeah, no, he's notched that up a couple now. But yeah, it's also got that 2-button mode that I was talking about, where it takes all of the other buttons and just puts them on the 2 buttons for it's like a situational awareness thing, where it's like you press pass, but it will decide actually there's a lob through ball on there, so it would do that instead of just normal pass, shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Burnout's another good one, but you can't play that on PS. Did the HD
PS4?
remaster
Yeah, you
come
could
out
get.
for PS4?
You could get Paradise remastered. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't get stuck. Like in Forza, one of the problems is that sometimes you can go against a wall or a tree or whatever and get your car stuck.
Yeah.
And you have to press start and then reset it or whatever, which is fine. That's good. But in Burnout, if you're against a wall, mate, your car explodes and then it just resets you in the middle of the track again. Like it's great for that stuff. Burnout Paradise.
I think Pokemon's really good for little ones, especially all the motion sensitive stuff. Yeah,
That'd be a
easy,
good choice.
easy enough to play.
Can they get their heads around the combat system?
Yeah, because it's just
very
like
simple.
one button and you just flick your wrist. It's fine. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I wonder if it'd be worth getting a 2DS or something as well, just to have something. I don't know. Have any of your
Harry's
kids been
discovered
bothered
my
about that
DS.
stuff?
That's what I started off with Rachel. Like,
Okay.
the first, she had one when she was 5, and she absolutely loved it. And then we got one for Astro when he was 5 as well. And he plays it every day.
All that does is confirm that I started Harry way too early on games. Like, I mean, he was playing games when he was like before he turned 3.
I mean, Isaac's already
bad,
obsessed with like controllers and stuff.
Yeah.
I found out the other day. I found my old Game Boy Micro like in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, like what's this? Why is this here? And he was like, oh yeah, Isaac found it, and he was like just messing around with it. And I was like, what? No, that's a fucking antique. Don't they?
It's dripping with saliva.
Yeah.
You turn it upside down, it's seeping out the buttons and shit.
But no, I was like, no, all joking aside, they're not easy to get hold of, so I'm just going to put that away. But yeah, no, he's got like a Bluetooth controller I used to use for my phone, and I just let him like have that, and he thinks it's doing something, I think.
Yeah, that's what I used to do with my little sister when we were playing games. It's not like the cable was just hanging down. No, you're playing, but why is it not plugged in? Oh, that's special. Right, okay, that's it. We're done. Matthew Murray.
James, are we streaming on Thursday?
I'm not sure yet. We
Okay.
I have to discuss with you.
Stay tuned for Zulu's stream. I might do something because I miss it. And there's loads of games I want to start streaming. Alex Kids and Bloodborne and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, maybe something. But basically, just look at our Twitter feed at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, and we may be streaming. But otherwise, all links to all in our show notes. Look at your podcast player right now. Links to our social channels, Discord, everything. If you haven't already, every review on Apple Podcasts really super helps. So thank you for that. If you've left one, and if you haven't, it just takes takes no time at all. We've got a Discord. We're on every single social channel known to man, and that's about it. Dave, the archive of our recent streams are on our YouTube channels, to go there, and anything Dave's done on Twitch will also be on there as well, so check it out.
Cool. And next week is my last proper show, so we're not doing feedback and emails the week after on the Game of the Year show, so make sure you get all your gushing emails in and all your your lovely heartfelt comments for next
please.
week's show.
Please
so
do
that's
that
before
please,
Monday.
Yes.
And any gifts, I'm sure Matt can tell you where to send them.
Yeah, just send them to my house. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's going to steal them in it.
Any cereal?
I'm sure Sean will tell you where to send them, and we'll, everything's appreciated. It's appreciated. So
same goes for all of us, really. So that is appreciated.
Fucking draft next week, boys. The draft.
I'm already scared, but I have already started preparing lines. So
yeah, same. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for living it.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Night.
The fire body.